Let's see. All right. What's up? Looks like we are live. I was having some difficulty with the video that we downloaded. So I'm not sure what's up with that, but nonetheless, everything good on your end, Chris?
Yep.
Cool.
Yep. I'm good.
All
And
right.
it's a good thing because we are live and on the air right now. Want to welcome everybody into the Metalheads Unite podcast. I know that there's a few people that were expecting us to be on last night at 10 o'clock
Yeah.
at our regular time. We got a couple of Facebook messages last night. I think it was about 10:15, 10:20, asking where we were.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, so we decided to well we decided to have the show today because, as you guys will find out here in just a minute, and if you were following us, hey, good morning, Eduardo. If you were paying any attention at all through the socials and everything, and at the end of the show last week, you would have found out that we pushed the show to this morning because we have another guest from across the Atlantic Ocean, and we are returning to Bavaria. We have another guest from Germany who will be joining us shortly. We have Dieter Wittbecker, who will be joining us just a second. He is the bass player for German metal band Pyracanda. He is in the backstage area right now and will be joining us shortly. So that is why we moved the show from our regular time on Friday at 10 to this morning at 9 o'clock local standard time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we look forward to him joining us here in just 1 minute. So
yeah, we usually don't like getting the Europeans up at 5 o'clock in the morning to do a Friday night podcast.
right, yeah,
It has happened. It has happened, but I usually try to avoid that. But
yeah. There's been a couple times where a couple of bands are like, yeah, it's fine, it's no problem. And we're like, are you sure? Because that's early as hell. And they're like, yeah, it's fine.
Nine o'clock in the morning is a lot better for us to get up
For
than it is
us.
to have them to get up at 5. So
Yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah, we do what we can. We do what we can to be as flexible as we can, because when we reach out to a band and they are gracious enough to accept the invitation, we feel like it's a little more, it looks a lot better when you don't draw a hard line in the sand, be like, well, you're coming on at 10 o'clock our time, or you're not coming on at all. So
right.
it's definitely a lot better to be like, well, yeah, we can move the show till tomorrow, so you're not getting up at the ass crack of dawn. So sure.
And before we get started, I don't know how many of you guys stayed up late last night, but the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight went to a decision. And of course, Jake Paul had the decision. So
yeah,
which to me it was there was a lot of chances in there that both fighters could have laid the other one out. I think.
Yeah, they could have. I think because
I think it was more of a respect thing, and I really, honestly, and when I said this from the beginning, I said, look, I'd love to see this, like, if Mike was at least 40, you know what I mean? It would have been a whole different story. But to me, like, it was just a fight to, not kill Tyson's legacy and then help promote Jake Paul. That's all it was to me.
I think that's. I don't know if that's how it started out, but I think that's how it ended up. Because Mike Tyson. Because Tyson didn't even throw. I don't think he threw one right hand.
No, I don't think so either. So.
And he definitely didn't throw a single uppercut. Because if he would have had a chance to throw one, Jake Paul would still be asleep. So
if you look at the tail of the tape, Jake Paul threw 278 punches and he only landed 78 of those. So he threw 200 times and couldn't hit Tyson. So to say that about a 58-year-old man in a boxing ring is pretty. It's pretty amazing to think that he still can move enough to not get hit. So
he ate a couple decent left hands in the middle rounds, but he still. I wouldn't have done it if I was Jake Paul. I wouldn't have done it because I mean, you never know. To me, is like you never know when Mike is gonna
Right.
turn into Mike
Mm.
and be like, you know what, screw this. And because when the fight started, I was like, he's conserving his energy, which is good
Right.
because
Right.
because used to be when that first bell rang, he would literally just
Oh,
come out and
yeah,
try
come
to
out swinging. Yep.
try to maul you, but he didn't do that. So I thought he had a strategy working, but then
Mm.
as the fight went on, it's like he's just standing there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It was. It. Yeah. Like I said, it is what it is, and
yeah,
we'll see what happens. So when
yeah.
Jake gets in there with somebody, uh,
Well,
you know, better than or
yeah,
younger, not really
a
better.
lot. Yeah,
I don't think there's not ever going to be a lot of boxers better than Mike Tyson. I'm sorry to tell you, but
no, not really.
uh, so
Yeah.
anyway, I just wanted to share that little bit of tidbit before we get started. So
Well, let me before we bring Dieter in, let me share one more thing real quick before we
okay,
bring him in. Last week, we had Malachias on the show, and then
right.
last Saturday we were down in Manchester for
Mm.
our buddy Dana's birthday party.
Oh
Now,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
we live streamed the show. If you watched it, if you didn't, we recorded it, and I'm probably gonna work on getting the band's performances posted online because I'm gonna send them to them.
Right.
But at one point during the show, and you can probably see it over my shoulder right here, but at one point during the show, they handed out some quote unquote awards, and we were given an award by Krista and Dana, our friends at Metal and Tats. We were given an award as their favorite heavy metal podcast, and that's awesome that
Yeah,
they
that's
did that, and we greatly appreciate it. We're super duper honored to get something and to get something like this, and it's right
yeah.
there.
And to us, it's just more important that we've created that friendship with those guys and expanded our metal family. So that's the
Yeah,
main thing. They didn't have to give us anything. We were fine
no, they did.
with what we were doing. So we
Yeah,
do
so
we do appreciate that. So
yeah, so I wanted to say a quick thank you to Dana and Krista for that because that's awesome.
all right, now what you all came to hear, hopefully.
Yeah, because it
Let's
probably wasn't to hear us yammer on,
yeah,
but
yeah. I was like, yeah, we hear you fuckers every week. Just shut up. We're gonna bring on Dieter from Pyracanda now. So, hey, what's up, Dieter?
oh, Dieter, you're on mute, buddy.
Yeah, you're muted.
Better now.
Hey, there you
Hey,
go.
Good.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Good morning, USA.
yeah,
You're drinking coffee
yeah.
and
Yeah,
tea,
Dunkin'
and
Donuts. So
we are
Dunkin'
already
Donuts.
drinking beer here.
there you go.
It's
Nothing
4
wrong.
p.m.
Yeah.
4 p.m. in Germany now. Critics,
So,
good to be here, and congratulations to the award.
well, thank you. Yeah, it's like our first one. So
Well,
hopefully there's a much more in behind that at some point. But
nice.
we're not doing this for rewards. So
We're not. That's why. I mean, that's what was. I mean, that's what was so nice about it is it just kind of it was unexpected, and you know, it was just because the funny thing was is like I was at the show and we were in between sets, and Dana comes up to me. He goes, I need you to walk up there towards the front of the stage with everybody else, and then he just walked off. I'm like,
oh,
all
okay.
right. I don't know what the heck. I was like, don't know. I was like, does he want me to help set something up or move something? Because they were
Right.
in between sets. They were doing set change and everything. I didn't know if he wanted me to like move an amp or grab somebody's instruments or something. So I was just standing there. And then they just started this whole thing. And I mean, Krista came up with this big ass stack of, awards in a bag. And I was like, oh shit, okay.
Nice.
Like,
Nice.
I don't know where we're going with this. And then, there you go. So yeah,
Wow.
it was cool of them to do that. So
Congrats.
yeah, thank you.
So Dieter, I guess like the first things that's going to pop out with a lot of people is for first off like, who is Pyracanda, and then if they look it up and they say, oh well, they've been active since '87, let's go look at their stuff.
Yes, long ago.
So yeah, so there are two full length albums from earlier in the '90s. So from '92 to 2024 there was that gap. So kind of lead us into kind of what happened with the gap there. So,
That was not a gap, that was a valley. That was
yeah, well, yeah, yeah, yes.
huge. You know.
It's almost like a hiatus at that point. So,
Yeah. So where should I start?
Well, you can start at the beginning if you want to, because,
Oh,
like I say,
really?
because back when everything started,
Mm,
it
I
was it
can.
was it was you and Dennis and Hansi, and then everything kind of, like Jason said, there was a little bit of a gap in there,
A little
and
bit.
a little bit
Yes.
of a gap, and also there is, and I, I did see that there was a couple years where there was like a little bit of an offshoot with you
And
guys.
a what?
An offshoot, kind of like a little bit of a, you guys. I don't want to give anything away, but I'll just say the word Ilex.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Okay, yes. Yes, 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 yes. Alex and later on Gereizt, that was the band name we made that record with. But let me tell that story just quickly. Yes, you're completely right. Founded 87, 1987. The original founding members was even not me and Hansi. There were two other guys in, but we arrived 1 year later. And
Okay, all right.
yeah, but this is all good. This is the ordinary evolution of a band. That means the old bass player. We're still in touch with them, but yeah, there are reasons to change your people sometimes. And yeah, Hansi and me, we arrived in the band at 88 and made a demo. Welcome to Capital City, really on a cassette demo, and it was really yeah good recognized by some record companies. And we got our first record deal, really young. And 1990, we released our first album, Two Sides of a Coin. This is this one here, right? You can see them here.
Yep.
So 1990, at No Remorse Records. Maybe you know some of the bands. One band is, for example, Grinder. You know maybe Grinder, or maybe you know Blind Guardian. They've been there
oh yeah,
in
yeah,
that
Blind Guardian,
Yep.
yeah.
label. Yeah, yeah,
Yep. No Blind Guardian.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Of course. And this label was then, yeah, finally it was closed 1 year after the release of our album. But
Oh,
our album was not the reason they told us. No, it was not. It was. I think it was the second successful album after the Blind Guardian stuff. But yeah, label was closed and we are all alone. But we're writing new songs, and then we made a new album at Arc Records. You know maybe Arc Records. It's owned by the bass player of Mekong Delta. You know Mekong Delta, the band? And no,
I
no
don't, yeah,
problem.
I'm 100%
Yeah,
sure.
they're more in one Europe. And that was that album Thorns, this one, the red one. And yeah, it's a little bit otherwise than the first one, a little bit more complicated, more hard to listen, but not bad too. And then after that, Elmar, the drummer, left the band. Um, he Patrick joined the band as the new drummer. Patrick, by the way, we just discussed that backstage before that. He is it's Patrick Grün. He is the drummer at Caliban too, right?
Hmm.
So he got two bands, and but he was 19 when he joined Pyracanda at that time. We were doing
Okay.
it was funny, yeah. We were doing a drummer casting every week, three new drummers, and he arrived there, and his father was driving him because in Germany it's allowed to drive a car when you're 18. So his father brought him to our rehearsal room, and he was unbelievable. With 19 years, he was standing there. Wow, there's no. Yes, and that was really amazing. And this time he was in the band, and yeah, and then Sven Fischer moved to the band Rage. You know Rage maybe from Germany.
Yes, I
You know
love Rage.
we are very close to the Rage guys, especially to Peavy. I saw him this week at home in his flat in his house in his house, and he moved to Rage, and then we said, okay, let us stop Pyracanda because Elmer is away and Sven is away. It was a feeling thing, and we stopped that, and we switched a little bit, and we made some German metal stuff, really in German language. You mentioned that before, Elex, right? Elex was the project name. We made a record later under the name Gereizt. This is spelled as a G with a dot and Reiz with a double Z. This is very
Yeah,
German.
I was gonna ask you. I was gonna ask you about that too. So I'm glad you brought that up because
Okay, good.
I noticed that with the exception of Frank, that everybody in the band was also in that band too. So I was gonna ask you about that. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Not everyone, but yes, yeah, very close. And after that, we just made that one record, and that was just for fun, right? Really, we have that songs, what to do, make the record, and we got a record deal quickly, and yeah. Then after that, there was that big valley, that gap, that large gap, and then something very strange happened. Every one of us was living his ordinary life. I was living in Bavaria at the time, in Ingolstadt. This is a town where the headquarter of Audi is, for example, right? Ingolstadt, in the north of
yeah.
Munich. And I was living there with my now former wife in our house, ordinary life. And suddenly, completely unexpected, I received messages from Southeast Asia. There was a merchandise company saying, "Hey, can we print your cover on T-shirts and long sleeves and all this? This for the first album, this one, right?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Do that. You got permission." And I don't think anyone will buy that. They're selling a lot of these T-shirts. I was completely surprised. And then our second record company for that Red album, Thorns, this one, called us, and they want to release this album again in Russia and the Ukraine, and this was before the war, of course.
Well,
And
yeah.
we said, "Do that. Send us some copies and do that." And then suddenly we received an offer from a record company out of the US, and they want to reissue these two albums and take the remasters from the streaming platform and completely build that records new and put it in the stores again. And I said, "Wow!" And I said that was a funny situation. I asked my guys, "Hey, I think we should ask for money."
Yeah, a
Yeah,
little bit.
because there's something going on. I don't know. This is so long ago, and that old music, and what is happening there, right? And then I had a first phone call. No, that was a streaming call with this guy from this record company from Dive Bomb Records. He's in Boston now, and yeah, I told him this number, and he directly says yes. And I said, "Shit, should I ask for more?" But you know what I mean. But he directly said yes, and I said, "Okay, good." But very nice people at Dive Bomb Records, and they really made a very, very good record out of that. And if you can hear that, I think the streaming is still in that sound, and I don't know if Matt from Dive Bomb Records still have copies. I think they still have copies. This is at the moment, except we still got some copies in the rehearsal room, but it's the only way to get them on CD. And and the time was going, and I said, "Hey guys, should we should we meet in our old rehearsal room again and maybe next year play some shows? That was 1919. No, I'm lying. That was 2019. And 1990 was a little bit early. 2019, that
Yeah,
means
we're
short
we're
before Corona, right?
we're talking to the oldest band ever.
Yes, really. 1919. So I simply have to drink more. That's really. And no, that was 2019. And then we met, and we met in the rehearsal room of a friend, and he said, "Hey, I got some instruments here," and was a drum set, and we just played Top Gun. This is the first title on this album, on the first album, and it works. And then, okay, it's still working after all these years, fine. And then, okay, we had our reunion show 2020, and that was an unbelievable thing for us because this show was sold out in 2 weeks. And I
Wow.
said,
Nice.
after all these years, can you imagine that? And that was really like saying, okay, we should do more. And then, yeah, we played some shows because the problem was we played this show, the reunion show. You find some videos of that on YouTube. 2020 in February. And 1 month later, the first lockdown was there.
Yep.
And some of the fans wrote me on Facebook and all that stuff. They wrote me, "Hey, your show was the last show I've seen before Corona." So, okay, is it good or bad? But yeah. And then, yeah, we had a lot of time, of course, and we played some Corona shows. But I don't know how it was in the US. In Germany, that was limited to 500 people, right? So that
No, we didn't even have that.
nothing, right?
No, we didn't even have that. They shut. I mean, they shut all the venues down. I mean, no one was getting together. All of the sports leagues here, and even the wrestling companies, they were still all of the professional sports leagues. They were still having games, but what they were doing was, and I know that the NHL and the NBA, what they did in those sports leagues is they had everybody come together in one city. And, well, in the NHL, I'm sorry, in the NHL it was two cities. They had like one conference get together in one city and the other conference get together in another city. And what they did was, and this is for the playoffs, not the entire regular season. I need to be specific about that. Like during the playoffs, I can't remember what they called it. I think they called them bubbles. I think they may have called them bubbles. But what they did was they had all of the teams that were involved. They had them all stay in one city. There was no traveling. There was no, everyone was able to come together and play a game, but then they had to go back to their hotel and they had to quarantine and everything. So they were trying to get all these seasons done. Yeah. So, but they had all the games. They had all the games on TV, but there were no fans in the stands. It was just the people who need. It was just the two teams, the referees and everything, and the people from the league who were able to take care of the stats and the people who were broadcasting the game. They had as few people in these venues as possible to get the games in. And then Jason can attest to this. When they were doing the wrestling thing, it was completely empty arenas, completely empty. There was nobody in the arena except the people who worked for the WWE. There was nobody else in the stands. But as far as any concert venues,
Nothing.
they didn't even have any stipulations like that where you could only have this many people. Now, as time went on, slowly but surely, when the venue started to open back up, they had everybody separated into these things. They called them
Pause. Yeah.
Yeah, they had them pods. You could buy a pod at a venue that could hold, what was it, 4 people, 6 people? Jason?
I think they had different levels. They had like a 4, 6, and an 8 person pod. So when
Yeah,
so you would have to, and it was crazy because I think the first band that I remember seeing was like Steel Panther had
it
that,
was. Yeah.
and then it was like for the cost of the pod, I was just like, dude, there's no way in hell I would pay that much money to see Steel Panther. I'm sorry, like I'm just not. I'm not going to pay $60 a person to see Steel Panther. That's just not happening.
Well,
So,
especially when the one time we did go to see Steel Panther, I think we paid like $30.
right, exactly, which is
Uh,
reasonable for a band,
thir-
like Steel
30 was
Panther. But,
yeah, 30 was
Oh,
reasonable.
yeah.
$60 a person was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean,
whenever
if you think about it, I paid $60 a piece to go see Lamb of God and Pantera. So if that tells you anything about how the difference in
right,
bands there, it's,
yeah,
it's like not
absolutely.
I'm not knocking Steel Panther at all, but they're not the level of a Pantera. Sorry. Um,
No, 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 absolutely not. So yeah, Dieter, we didn't even get to have that. I mean, I
yeah,
think
I
it was
understand.
I think it was 2 solid years where I mean there was just no going to shows here.
Unbelievable. Yeah, in Germany and I think in other locations in Europe, it was limited to 500. And I was thinking about 500. Why not 400 or 600? But I'm not a doctor. I cannot explain that. But it's not my job to judge that. So, but in the end, I remember the Headbangers Festival. This is a festival in the
Mm.
north of Germany, um, a really big arena where normally bands playing from all over the world, and about 4,000 people are there, and 500 people sitting there. And we walk from backstage on the stage. We usually do that. That the drummer goes first. When I arrive on the stage, we are starting us two, just the rhythm man. And I talk to the guys. Hey, have a look. All these people are sitting there. We are getting older, and yeah. But in the end, we just played Corona shows, and we had a lot of time, and we're starting to write new songs, right? By accident. So suddenly the new songs were there, and yeah, and then our second record company for re-releases, FHM Records, suddenly, yeah, they were doing all the vinyl stuff, yeah, all that records, because Dive Bomb is only doing CDs, and so. And Frank called me and said, "Hey, by the way, before you're starting to look for new record companies, I'm doing more than re-releases now. I will do new records now too." I said, "Okay."
Oh, that's cool.
I said, "For example," and he said, "The next Nasty Savage album will be issued here."
oh,
I said,
cool.
"Oh, cool." I said, "When?" He said, "On the 10th of October." And I said, "Okay, I will sign that contract if we release on the same day." And that happens this year on the 10th of October. Um, FHM Record releases the new Nasty Savage album, long
Hmm.
long time ago too, and our album on one day. And that was amazing. And this is a very good thing because in the end, and that was something very new for us. This is something you can do when you got it when you're in that age. We have done the whole production from songwriting to studio to merchandise to video to record company. Everything around that
Hmm.
was done with friends, with people we know, with friends, and this is not happening normally. Normally, you come in the studio, anyone else is sitting there, any sound engineer, whatever. We've done everything with friends, everything with people we know before, and we selected, and that was really amazing. It's something like a good feeling you carry that. And yeah, that happens this year, 1 month ago, and this is the latest status. And now this record is out. and we're getting good rates in the magazines here in Europe. I don't know how that is in the US because, but Europe we're getting good rates. And yeah, you've heard that album, right? The new
Oh
one.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I actually did the review of the album on the show, so that's kind of why I reached out. I was
Oh,
like,
okay.
man, I said I like
Yep.
these guys, and
It's
Yeah.
the new one, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and the
That
whole
one.
and that's kind of like what me and Chris started this for, is because we were, listening to music, and then a band called Onslaught came on. Neither one of us had heard of it, and this was in 2020. And Onslaught has been around since the 80s, and we was like, how the hell did we not hear about On? Like, how do we not? We're thrash guys by heart anyway. So how do
Right.
we not? How do we not know about Onslaught? It's kind of like crazy.
Okay, good.
So it's like, if
You
we
are too
don't know,
young.
yeah. So if we don't know about bands like that, how many of these smaller bands that we like do people not know about? So,
Hmm.
and that's when I know, and I know I'm not I'm trying to like sum this up because I know everybody that listens to the show has probably heard this 1,000 times, but
Yeah, they
uh,
probably.
but it was just to explain to you guys kind of like what we do is we took that, and I looked when I was doing the podcasting thing. I was, like I said, I was already doing one podcast, and then I talked to Chris and said, "Hey, man, you want to do a podcast about this? Is my idea." Because I had researched it for a couple of weeks, and there really wasn't a lot of. Actually, there wasn't, but maybe one other podcast at that time doing what we do, and that's promoting bands that you may not know.
Yeah.
A lot of the podcasts are talking to their buddies. Ozzy's Boneyard or something. They're talking to people that they know in the business. So which is good. I like hearing that stuff too. But if you're going to be unique and start doing stuff like this, you have to be unique. I mean, so and I feel like that. Like I said, there's Pyracanda. Like I personally said this. Before the show is like, man, I wished you guys could have like pushed it through all the way through the 90s into the 2000s, because I think I'm like, dude, this album is amazing, dude. I love and like we got a question in the chat too, just so you know. Once I wrap this up, I'll ask you.
And it's actually a great
It is a
question.
good question, and I
It's a
actually
great
it's
question.
it's, it's good, but when I listened to the album, I was like, man, this is great. And then I went back and listened to the older stuff, of course, because we want to
I
have
did too.
we want to have as much information as possible to talk to you guys. So, but I noticed in like the albums that, of course, you're talking a 30-year difference, but Hansi's voice seems to have gotten better with age, I think. So, which is
Everyone is
wild,
saying that.
which is
Yeah, this
wild, dude.
is
It's like, yeah, it's like
yeah, this is true.
yeah, because I was listening to the older stuff, and I'm like, dude, I think he can carry a note higher now than he could then. Because some of the
I,
stuff
I
that he was,
I noticed that too.
yeah, some of the stuff he was doing on the new album, I'm just like, wow, this is
Yeah,
this is great, dude.
yeah.
And actually, I don't think you guys really tested his range. Honestly, I think he could go higher. So,
No, this is true. Everyone is saying that on the last record, Hansi sings much better than on the older records. He's grown up now, and
yeah,
yeah, it's all good.
He's
It's all
he's
good.
grown up.
But you're right. You're right.
Yeah, I kind of want to echo like a sentiment that Jason just had, because once I started doing research for the show too, and make sure I listen to everything, because I did the same thing too. Obviously, starting off with Losing Faith, but going back and listening to Two Sides of a Coin and Thorns, I kind of want to. I kind of felt the same way that Jason did, because I know Dieter, we've already talked about Rage, but when after listening to the three albums and the chronological longevity that you guys have had, even though there were some periods of downtime there, I kind of felt the same way as Jason's. Like, man, if these guys could have had the career that like Rage has had, because Rage is on their 25th or 26th album.
yeah, yeah.
So I mean, I felt the
It-
same way as Jason's. Like, man, if these guys would have made music the whole time, we definitely wouldn't have had a part. Because I don't get me wrong, I haven't been a fan of Rage since all the way back when they started, because
Right.
they started way back then too. But so I got into Rage, a little later in the game, but
Mhm.
I've known Rage for a long time, and I feel like if you guys would have taken the same path, I would have known about you guys a lot sooner than
Mhm.
2024. So just to echo the same thing that Jason was saying.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we never had a major deal, and we never had that management and all that. That was a band, the music, and that's it. And it's like in the industry. Only to have a good product will not guarantee to have success, right? This is very simple, right? And yeah, I'm pretty sure if we had a good management right from the beginning, maybe maybe
Yeah.
that history
Yeah.
Well, I
would
mean,
be
well, I mean, well, I mean, whether it's in, whether it's in music or sports or whatever, or even in like your regular 9 to 5. I mean, you drive yourself crazy beating yourself up over what you didn't do and
Right.
what would have happened if this, that, and the other thing. So yeah, but
There's, I don't know if you see the.
you'll drive yourself crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if you see the question on the screen there, Dieter, but they want to know, in your opinion, does the German bands Paradox and Vendetta have a similar sound to Pyracanda? And then,
hard to say.
then I'm gonna tell you something interesting after this. So,
Interesting
Yeah,
question. I don't think so, and I don't think that Paradox and Vendetta have the same sound. To be honest, and Pyracanda is different too. Let me say no. I don't think so because they're all doing their way of music, and everyone has their special sound. And we are very lucky that we still have the sound on the new album. This one still have the sound like on this one. But this is the fault of our guitarist Dennis. He's very straight on that. And no, let me answer this question now. Just listen to the new album and judge it by yourself. And
I found the question interesting because when I was listening,
completely.
when I was listening to you, I think maybe it was the Two Sides of Every Coin. I think is that the name of the album. I think, yeah. But I was listening to that album, and then Two Sides of a Coin. Yeah. So I was listening to that album, and then like when it got done, the first song that popped up was a Paradox song on Spotify.
This is true.
So I was like, so when he asked that question, I said, that is kind of interesting that you asked that because evidently Spotify thinks you guys sound similar. Because
This is true. It's that kind of music. It's that kind of music, but the sound is not. And I remember that was very funny. The Paradox story. There was. Wow, I think it was still to the time of the Iron Curtain. That means Eastern Europe was still in the Russian claw. That means we made a tour in Hungary, and we heard about that we have to do the tour 1 month before the tour. And I said, what is going on? Yeah, it was a Paradox tour, but the guitar player got a problem with his hand, and can you play this tour? And I said, yes, but on all the promotion is Paradox. Yeah, and then suddenly we arrived there with Pyracanda, and he said, yeah, this is not an issue because either the Paradox album, not the Pyracanda album, you can buy in Hungary. And I said, okay, because it was behind the Iron Curtain there. We're not able to buy that. And we played that tour, and that was impressive because after two bands before us, the promoter goes on stage and explained that Paradox cannot play. Of course, everyone was upset. Sure. And then he said, Pyracanda will play, and everyone was happy. And I said to Hansi, what's going on there? They cannot know us. Right? But that was funny. And then that really big open air news. And the first 5 rows were singing all the lyrics. And I said, what is going on there? And after that, backstage, we heard from a lady from a fan scene that a lot of bootleg record copies were sold in Eastern Europe. And I said, oh, this is good. Copy that. This is good. Unlegal copies are always good. So that means,
well, that's how. I mean, hell, that's that's the metal underground. I mean, that's how things got
Yeah.
done back then.
And believe me, I don't care if we sell this 10,000 more or less because the people know the music, right?
Right.
The people know the music, and this is fine, right? And
Yeah.
we've been completely happy about that.
Yeah. But that I can imagine that being a surreal moment going, well, first of all, like having to tour in a part of the world that we just heard about. Because I mean, you talking about the Soviet Union and stuff like that, and how there were two Germanys at the time, and it's just because I remember obviously over here in the United States, I think I was probably in my early teens when like all of that stuff kind of fell apart, fall of the Berlin Wall and all that stuff. I think it was God. I hope I don't embarrass our education. Our education. Fall of the Berlin Wall was what 89, 89 somewhere around
Right,
there.
right, right,
Yeah.
right.
So I was like 11. So when that happened, but I mean to have to live through that and then that one particular moment that you just talked about going on stage, like, okay, we're filling in for a band and no one's going to know who the hell we are, coming to find out that you got a major fan base in a place that, because of the political climate, they basically had no business knowing who you were because of the stranglehold that they had put on them. I can only
Yes.
imagine the surrealness of that moment coming out and playing in front of all those people like that who knew who you were.
But it was amazing because we really thought when we go on stage there, we completely nameless there, right? And then
Yeah.
suddenly, all the people were singing our songs, and they said, "What is going on?" So it was
Yeah.
really amazing. Yeah, that was a good feeling. Yeah, that
I,
was
I
the Pyracanda paradox story. So
So that
I,
that's actually kind of a great way that even came about because with Eduardo asking that question.
I kind of feel like if you guys would have been, offered a record deal back then, you guys probably would have been lost in the shuffle anyway. Because as we talked to bands that have been around as long as you guys have, and they kind of do the same thing. That's like Salem's Child hadn't been around as long as you guys, but they were, I think they started in like '96, and they just put their first album out not long ago. So I mean, you're talking actually 2020 they put an album out, and then they just put another one album out. So they've had two
Yeah,
albums in there, you know, almost 20, 30 year career already too. So it's kind of like crazy that these bands, are older, but they're just now getting that recognition. And I think it's because of that, because I think a lot of people are starting to understand that these record labels, weren't pushing the bands that should have been pushed back in the day. Because I think a lot of, growing up in the, quote, hair metal days is what they say. But, it's all metal to me. But it's,
sure.
but it's like growing up in that time period, you think, oh, these bands are great. These bands are great. Why aren't they playing those videos on MTV? It's kind of like that deal where these record labels had 40, 50 bands on the label, but they were only pushing five. So I mean, all the other
Yeah,
bands were getting lost. And now I see where these, like, we're actually partners with a couple of record labels now over here, Affiant, and we've gotten
and Scarlet
Purple Sage
and
sending us stuff, and
Scarlet Records.
yeah, Scarlet. So we got a couple record labels sending us music all the time, which is cool. I love it.
Oh, it's cool as hell.
But and that's kind of like, they're sending us new bands we haven't heard of. So without that, we probably wouldn't even know these guys.
It's
So
perfect. Yeah.
so yeah, it's cool. So but to say like these guys are having like 20 bands, and they're keeping it kind of close knit with 20, 25
all
bands,
right.
and they're pushing all of it.
And
So I mean,
believe me something. The best bands in the world you will never hear of
right.
because they're in their rehearsal room and nowhere else. Believe me. This
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
really this is
yeah.
really
And
true.
I mean,
that's really a shame.
yeah. I mean, you got to have some sort of self promotion to get a bigger, entity looking at you. I mean, they're like, okay, well, if you're not invested in what you're doing, then how do you expect somebody else to be invested in what you're doing? That's kind of the way I look at it. But
It's
No, I mean that's that. Yeah, I think there's a little bit to be said for that. I mean, especially where we're at now. I mean, we're and this is another thing we've said on the show many times before. So I mean, this may get some freaking eye rolls from some of our regulars, but I mean, we're sitting here now in 2024, and we're just all three of us are just hanging out at our house, but
Mhm.
you're 7 hours away from us, and we're just sitting here chatting. So I mean, the fact that we have the technological advances that we do now, a couple of dudes from Tennessee can hang out and talk to a guy from Germany like it's nothing, kind of like we're on the phone. It's not that big a deal. I mean, it's like, hey, you want to come on the show? Sure. I'll be in my house, you'll be in your house. And, so anything can be promoted at the drop of a hat. I mean, we have our social media platforms. I mean, we have Instagram and TikTok and, Facebook and all that stuff. So, I mean, we promote what we've got going on. So what Jason says, I mean, if you guys are just making music, but you're not trying to let anybody hear it, then yeah, then odds are the quote unquote right people may never hear it.
Right.
That's completely true. But some of these bands don't want to go out. I remember there was one in Germany. We do a lot of rehearsals room in old bunkers, right? So bunkers from the Second World War and all that, and
Mhm.
they changed that to rehearsal rooms, which is very good because you cannot hear anything on the outside, and the good or bad. So
Yeah.
and directly beside us, there was a unbelievable that they were doing some jazz, blues, fusion stuff, but unbelievable good people, and no one knows them. They don't even play one show, and
Just
all
playing for
their own
themselves.
songs, all their own
Yeah.
songs, right? But they don't want to go out. No, no, we want to be with us, and blah blah blah. But this is happening. This is happening.
Well, it's
Yeah.
good that
Well,
you have an option to do that too, because
yeah.
like you said, if you get involved in a record deal, then they're going to require you to go on the road. So, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
Well, yeah. I mean, they want a little bit of return on their investments. So, I mean,
right?
it only makes sense.
of course,
It only
of
makes sense.
course. But that changed very hard in this gap of in this valley of 32 years, between these two records, 32 years between
Hmm.
that. So when we were recording, especially this album at No Remorse Records, it was the record company paid everything at the time, right? They paid a
Hmm.
hotel, they paid a hotel for your friends, they paid
Mm.
that very big studio, and that was really an amazing studio, right in the south of Germany. Amazing things. They paid everything, and this completely changed to today. That means with this album, oops, sorry, you're falling out of my with this album, with a new one, right? That
Yep.
Losing Faith album. In the end, that was completely produced by the band. Yes, we've done that completely alone. That means all the rights, everything is owned by the band, right? All the music, everything. And we've been lucky that we have this record company doing our reissues, and they want to do new records, so we can bring it on the market without taking care or looking for other record companies. But in the past, it was a mix of ownership between the band and the record label, right? Now it is all the rights are normally with the band, and the record company uses this and brings it on the market, and that's it. That really changed, which is an invest for the band, of course, but in the end, this is your product and not paid by anyone else.
Yeah. Because I it's you actually just answered kind of a question that I was going to ask, talking about like
Oh,
how everything. Because I mean, you're talking multiple decades of evolution of an industry, and just
yes, yes.
because just was going to ask you, I mean, like, what was it like at the beginning coming up to now? But you've already basically explained explained everything. So, how much? Well, let me ask you this: how much better? Well, actually, does it feel? Let me rephrase my question. Does it feel better being where you're at now? Because everything you just talked about, like everything is yours and you have control over it, even though you probably have to, you know, financially dig in a little harder than you would have had to back in the 80s.
Yeah, this is true, of course. Does it feel better? Yes, but the fact is that there are two facts on that. The first fact is what I explained before, that this is our product, right?
Right.
They're all our songs and really handmade, by the way. But this is what I will tell you later. And the second factor really is that we are really doing everything, including the cover artworks, video, everything, merchandise, with friends. And even the record company owner is a friend, right? And this is a much better feeling than in the past. Yes, this is a much better feeling.
So that's not just a saying. It's good to have friends in music, I guess. So, so that's
Well,
awesome.
hell, having connections is never a bad thing.
Well, no, definitely
No,
not.
no,
Yeah,
this
never,
is
never a
true.
bad.
No, we've kind of learned that firsthand. So
But
Right?
this is really much more than just a connection, because we've been working together, because the re-releases, right?
right,
And
right.
you know, it's not only knowing this guy; it is really how is it working with him. That can be different, right? And
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, and this is it's all good. Frank is a really nice guy, really good, a good person, and a really metal maniac. You cannot believe he's collecting that pigs, right? That
Oh, yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean? What's that word? This this pigs here, right?
Yeah.
He's collecting, and his complete wall of 12 meters is full different bands.
Wow.
That's
Unbelievable.
awesome.
That
He's a
that's
freak.
great.
He's a freak. Yeah.
Yeah, I never, I
Well, and
never,
that
I never get that close to catch a pig. So
yeah.
a couple
Yeah.
times, but not all the time. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I have quite a few, but not enough to fill a 12-meter wide wall.
yeah,
Yeah. This is
that's
really unbelievable.
No. Especially when they're only about as big as they're only about as big as a coin anyway. So I mean,
Yeah.
right.
This is nothing, right? This is
yeah, no.
yeah, like a
Yeah,
coin, right?
there's nothing to it.
Man.
But it also, and you just mentioned something that it's a small detail that to us makes a big difference in what we've discussed with some of our other bands and their labels, and like Jason said, some of the labels we're actually kind of developing a little bit of a relationship with too. It's not just does the label take care of us, because obviously that's a major thing, but talking about your friend Frank, the fact that he loves the music, because you just said he's a metal maniac. So not only does he have like a stake in how well you do because he's with the label, but the fact that his heart is in it too. It's like I absolutely have a passion for this music. So not only does he want, I mean, I'm sure, first and foremost, he's a businessman. If he's working for a label, it's like, all right, so
Yeah.
I'm running this
It's
business, and I want to see the band do well, so the label does well. But the fact that he absolutely just loves the music, so that's a a detail that to us is huge. The fact that they actually love the music and not just caring about the success of the band, but it's like, I want the band to do well because the music is awesome.
it's even beyond, because he's only signing bands where he's a fan of, and he's a really I got that
That's
record here.
awesome.
He was a
I love
very
I
big
love the I love the show and tell too.
Yeah, yeah,
was
yeah.
a
I do too. Yeah.
he was a very big fan of Siren, right from the beginning, this way. And the reason why he signed them for the re-releases was he's a fan of that band, and he was a very early Pyracanda fan.
Hmm.
And as we get in touch over Facebook, say, hey, I'm your biggest fan and blah, blah, blah. But I would like to ask you something for business. And he's only signing bands he really loves. And yeah, he's
That's
the
awesome.
biggest Nasty Savage fan, right? And now he got them under contract. So this is really cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's absolutely, it's totally cool. It's totally cool. Because then yeah, that's got to be fun for him
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be able to. It's got to
He's
be able to
standing
do
when we are shows and he's around. He's standing in the first row and doing
that.
and his headbang. Really, really true.
We're talking about Frank, right?
Frank, yes.
Yeah. So he's listed as a guitarist, right? And it's just from this year. So is he a recent join then?
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
I said it's listing him as the guitarist just from 2024. So did he just recently join you guys or?
I didn't
I
get
think
that.
it's a that might be a different Frank.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It's Frank Hirnschall. That's his
Oh,
name.
gotcha. Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, we're talking. Okay, we're
this
talking about
is
something different.
this
Okay, gotcha.
is FHM is Frank Hirnschall, M
Media. Okay,
for
gotcha.
media. Yes. Cool.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, I'm sorry. I was thought you were talking about Pelkowski here because I was actually had a joke. I was actually had a question about that. So, and that was my question: was did that Frank recently join you guys, and then how did
Oh,
was he on, and was he on the album or was that
we
after?
have that's true. We have another Frank.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
this
you
is
got
true.
it. Yeah.
Our new guitar player is Frank. Um, um, when we decided to ramp up Pyracanda again, of course, following the story I told you before, there was one guitar guy missing, right?
Hmm.
And because Dennis was still there, Sven was away, and he no one knows what he's doing, but he told us that he has really, really no time. And maybe I should ask PV the next time. Maybe he knows more what he's doing. No one knows that. So, but he has no time. So you know our music now. This is not possible with one guitar, right? And so we were looking for a new guitar player, and then for the beginning, for the first show year, starting in 2020, we had the guitar player from Caliban because Patrick asked him, hey, I got a Pyracanda, you know that, and we are missing a guitar player. Do you have time? And he played with us a lot of shows. A really, really nice person, and to be honest, a much better guitar player than I expected because, yeah, he's not doing everything he can do at Caliban. I'm pretty sure, and but he's really good. And unfortunately, he's living really far away. He's living 300 kilometers away, and this is not a real band life, right? So that means we just met one day before the next show, and that's it. And this is not what I understand as a working as a band, and he knows that. And then we met Frank. We're back to Frank now. Then we met Frank, and yeah, he's absolutely unbelievable. A nice person with the same kind of humor we have, and a good guitar player. And he lives directly around the corner. And yeah, then I called Denis. That's his name, the guitar player from Caliban. It's called Denis, and I said, "Hey, um, we have Frank now," and that was a funny situation because you have to understand Dennis has very short hair, right? Not yes, and I said, "Hey, we have Frank now, and thank you for all the years." And his question was not why or oh my God, what should I do now? His question was, does he have long hair? I said yes.
Wow,
Really,
that's
really.
That's great.
Yeah, that was funny. Does he have long hair? They said yes, but this is not the reason.
uh, yeah,
It's a
you
funny situation.
you didn't have enough hair. Sorry, you can't be in the band
Right.
anymore.
Yeah, but I still
Uh,
can see you.
uh, so yeah, it's kind of funny. It's just, he had long hair, then he cut it all off, and now it looks like he's kind of trying to grow it back. So
I
uh,
am.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
I
I
am.
can't.
Oh, really?
My
Yeah.
hair is like really like curly. So and I do grow it out in the winter. I kind of grow my beard and my hair out in the winter, and then
Okay,
I'm like a bear. I just grow everything out
cool.
and then cut it in the fall. But I think I would like deal with it more because at my age, everything kind of irritates me. I kind of feel like I'm growing into the get off my lawn guy. But it's just like it does. Like it's just like every little things just irritate me now, and it's like that's one of the things. Like it gets so long, and it'll curl in your ear, or you want to ride with the windows down, and it's slapping you in the face. I'm just like, dude, I can't do this anymore. Like
Yeah.
I, and
But it's,
when I was 20, I didn't give a shit. Now I'm just like, man, this is irritating. I gotta cut this shit.
of
Well,
course.
And I
I've
could
kind of
I see these guys riding motorcycles. And I'm like, dude, if I get that kind of because you got a helmet. But if it was me, like I don't know, I would probably find something aggravating about it. But I mean, it's just like in certain situations. Like I'm not like that about everything. It's just you know, it's like almost like somebody tickling your feet while you're sleeping or something. It's just like kind of like irritating or like chewing aluminum foil on a filling in your tooth or something. Like that kind of irritation. It's just
yeah.
like it's not enough to piss you off. It's just enough to kind of make you uncomfortable, I guess. So
I'm kind of working my way back to this right here.
yeah, there you
Oh, really? Really? Wow.
Yeah, so
Really?
I mean I don't know if I'm going to let it get that long, but yeah, I'm growing it back out. I actually had to do a little. I had
Just another location.
yeah. I
But sometimes,
I actually started over. So
sometimes it is really funny with that long hair. We made that video, that Hellfire video. Maybe you've seen that, right?
yes.
Have you seen the Hellfire video? So, and yeah, so this is a nice video, and the song is good, but um, there are really ladies writing I on Messenger, I love your hair. I saw your video and I love your hair. And I always answer, and what's about the song? So
Yeah.
what the fuck? So this is unbelievable
it's like,
sometimes.
like
Uh,
it's like yeah, but what did you think of the song? It's like
Yeah.
yeah, we and this is what I want to tell you. Um, every song on this album, that means on the new one, and on all the old ones, we are really, let me say, yeah, very very traditional, right? We are really meeting in the rehearsal room and we are putting together our ideas. And this is sometimes really like a fight. No, we take this part 4 times. No, 2 times. Blah, blah. This way, right? And can you do it faster or slower? And blah. There's a lot of discussions and a lot of noise. And but that's the way how we do that. This is our culture, and this is really nice. And everything is played in the studio by hand. No drum computers or all that
Mhm.
stuff, right? And this is
Right.
very important to say because a lot of bands, I think, maybe for money and time reasons, right? They they do the programming for the drums at home, and you don't hear any difference today, believe me. And they bring it to the studio and just put the guitar on it. No, we played everything by hand in the studio, and yeah, very basic. This is what we do.
Yeah, so going back to, I was actually looking back at my review here of the album. I actually had a mention in here about Hansi's vocals kind of seemed kind of Dave Mustaine-ish at times, and I was like, man,
On
this is
the yes, I
it's,
know which time you mean.
yeah, it's kind of amazing because a lot of people's, even Dave itself was just like, man, I don't like my voice, but I think that's what made Megadeth unique is because of his voice. You know what I mean? Like,
It's on Mouse Warrior, right?
yeah, yeah. Don't get me wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
he's had amazing guitar players, and he's an amazing guitar player. But I think that kind of made them stand out, especially if you're trying to stand out and step out away from Metallica. Of course, he didn't know at that time Metallica was going to be one of the biggest metal bands in the world. But still, it was kind of it was kind of one of the things I kind of felt when I was listening to some of Hansi's stuff, and like he did. I know he just there was like a monologue in one of the songs I think where I don't know if he did that or if that was kind of recorded by somebody else or what, but I like that too because I feel like those little things kind of enhance a track, sometimes. And I'm sorry I don't remember the track, but I'm still like only about 4 listens in to the new album, so I'll get there and be able to like rattle it off at some point, but
Yes, there's one song where everyone says, especially in the intro, he's singing like Mustaine, right?
yeah,
This is Mouse Warrior. This is the title where he
right,
starts
that's it, yeah.
where he starts very low with his voice, and after the recording, I said, "Hey, you sound a little bit like Dave Mustaine, but okay, sounds good. Why not?" So yeah, this is these are the bands we grow up with, right?
Right.
And we cannot hide that. I'm still a big fan of Metallica and Megadeth and all that, right? This is in our genes anyhow, and
Right. Yeah.
it's hard to hide that.
Mm.
Yeah, when we're standing there and we are writing songs. Of course, it's anywhere in the room. Yeah, this is why not?
I think it
Well,
was
I mean,
wild. I think it was wild to hear him like that deep, and then get way up here after that.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
man,
He has a
that's
good range. Yeah,
that's
that's
some
true.
range, dude. That's pretty wild. I think
Yes,
that
yes.
was really one of the things that impressed me, when listening to it, the first couple of
Yeah,
times,
he's a good
and of
singer.
course, like the guitar work. I mean, that stuff was just, oh man. I had a couple of I like the guitar lead-ins. I've been hearing a lot more of that lately, where you'll have a good little, 30, 45 second lead in to before you hear vocals and stuff like that.
Yes, this
Which
is
I think
great.
used to not be, from the I would say probably early 2000s until probably 15, even up to maybe COVID, you didn't hear a lot of that. People were just like, playing a couple of licks and then they were straight into the like vocals. And then you was like 3 minute songs and stuff like that was like a common thing back then because I remember I write lyrics and I remember talking to somebody and they're like, well, that was in a band and he was just like, man, if you got anything that long, they're probably not going to record it, these days because they want something 3 minutes or less. And I'm just like, what? Why? Like, I was like, blew my mind. I was like,
yeah.
and I think this is another thing I will tell you guys. I think that this album was perfect with timing. Um, 10 tracks and you had like almost 45 minutes or so, and I think that's a perfect run time for an album. To me, that's just like totally perfect.
I don't know how many minutes.
Yeah, I think it was. I think I'm looking at it right now. It's
I think it's not a number
40
anywhere.
44:17. So yeah, so, but
Yeah,
yeah, because I mean
yeah.
you had 3, 4, 5 minute songs in there, and I think that's like a perfect mix of in us growing up in the '80s. We're used to the 8 track 40-minute albums from Metallica and Exodus bands like that put out these longer songs, and then that's
They're
kind of
doing that again. On the last
yeah.
album, there are songs with 8 minutes, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like one of the things that's,
So,
and I noticed
yeah.
it's like one of the things that's coming back with a lot of the bands I've been listening to lately. You know, there's like some 6, 7, 8 minute songs on these tracks now.
I
I'm like, wow, that's,
I actually prefer a slightly longer song because I mean,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, of course, if you've got a song, that's like less than 3 minutes and it's like Primal Concrete Sledge by Pantera, something that's like balls to the wall up tempo
hmm
the entire time, that's fine. But I mean, I like a good, I like a good 4 or 5 minute song, something that tells something that's like a teeny tiny,
hmm
short story, but it's got, like you're talking about, it's got a good lead. It's got a good, it's got a couple of good verses. You get a couple good choruses. You get a nice,
Solo or something here and there.
a nice solo, maybe two. Then you get a breakdown. You get a lead out, and then so I mean, to me, 3 minutes or less is too short. But
Yes,
but
less
I
than
mean,
3 minutes is short.
yeah, but that's a personal preference, and I'm
Right.
sure I'm sure everyone's different. But I mean,
Who was,
but
who was
but
the
with
who was who was the band that we were talking about? Was it Hellfire that had on their last album? They had like a song where like everybody had a solo.
I think it was Hellfire. Yeah, I think it was.
I was like, is that a bass solo? Like, what the hell's
I
going
think
on
it.
here? It's
I think it was.
like,
Yeah, I think it was. But it's all in a particular band's composition, of course. But
right.
I think that with like the age that we are and how we grew up, we did grow up with those longer songs by Metallica. So that probably kind of influenced, it definitely influenced our taste in music overall. But
Absolutely.
that's just what we were used to. And I still think being a little older, I mean, we still have that longer attention span. And I also think as thrash fans, I actually think this is going to sound a little maybe conceited, I guess. I don't know. But I think being thrash fans at heart, like Jason said that we both are, I think we have a little bit more of an ear for the way a song is composed, and we prefer a little bit more of a complex composition. I know I'm not necessarily trying to speak for Jason, but I think that's kind of because there are certain things that I listen for in an album overall, but obviously from one song to the next. And I think there are certain things that you can't do in a song if you're only doing 3 minutes. And I think there are elements of a song that you can lose out on, and
Mm.
elements that can I think potentially hold you back because you're just trying to cram so much shit into
Right.
180 seconds.
there's there's only one problem with longer songs. Maybe you've heard that on this album, on the first album, there's a song "Welcome to Crablo City." I think it's the
Yeah.
last song. This is
Yep.
very long. I think it's about 7 minutes something, and it's a favorite song of our record company, Frank. Right?
Hmm.
And but we don't play that live because it's so long. That means
Yeah.
when you're playing on a festival, right, and you got 50 minutes, 1 hour to play a song for 7 minutes is
So,
not possible,
yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And this is the only problem with long songs. But you're completely right to lean back on the couch and to listen to a longer song with a lot of different composing elements and all. And this is really cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
completely
I'll tell
agree.
you something that I noticed, like me personally, like I'm not a big death metal fan, but I was like, and it sounds crazy, but I was doing like I do like a playlist every week of new music coming out to share with everybody in the group to
Hmm.
pick up on these newer bands, and
Yeah.
like going through and trying to listen to see what I'm going to put on there. There was a lot of death metal on there this week, and like I found myself like, and don't get me wrong, I was tired, but I found myself damn near falling asleep because it was like so soothing to me. I'm just like, how is death metal soothing? Like I don't know, but so, but it was pretty wild. I was just like sitting there thinking, I'm like, man, how am I like falling asleep to this? This is crazy. Uh,
Well, it's probably the higher BPM just lulled you to sleep.
I don't know, man, but it was pretty it's pretty wild. But
Yeah.
actually, when I was doing the review too, I kind of heard some music compositions that reminded me of old school Anthrax and Armored Saint too, which would kind of make sense if you guys been around as long as you have. So so there's a lot of big band feel when you
Yeah, and
from the old days. So
I don't think there's anything wrong with that because Dieter, you were
oh
talking
no, it's
about
not.
it. Yeah, because well, I mean, Dieter just said it's impossible to hide, and I don't think you should have to do that.
Yeah, you should not have.
I don't think you should ever have to hide who your influences are. I mean, as long as you're not just like straight up ripping off a riff or a
Well, I
bass
think,
line or a drum beat or something. I don't think you have to hide who your influences are, because I mean,
I had
everyone's
this.
influenced by something.
Why?
Yeah.
Why should
Yeah,
we do that? This
yeah.
is
Why
this
would
is
you have to?
a part of our culture, you know, and
Mhm.
I got no problem with that when someone says, "Hey, this song can be from Metallica too." I think, wow, what an honor, right? To say that the song can be from Metallica too. Nice. So, but yeah, this is all good. But the people who know us, not that people are in the audience that don't know Paracanda, so no, we don't sound like Metallica. But
Right.
Right.
on some points, you can imagine that I got a big collection of Metallica albums. That's true. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. But
I think I had this conversation with a friend of mine that plays guitar in a band a while back, and we were talking about some stuff like this. And I told him, I said, well, if you, because he hates the like pedals and all that stuff, he's kind of old school, just wants to like do things with a guitar and an amp and be done with it. And I'm just like, yeah, but if you think about it, like a prime example of that would be Dimebag Darrell. I mean, if you notice from the earlier albums to Cowboys from Hell, the guitar sound changed because of that. You know what I mean? He introduced like different pedals and stuff like that to get a different sound. So I think that helps you honestly to get a different sound. So it's not you have a less chance of copying something. I guess is what I was trying because you can change the tones and stuff a little easier. But,
Give me 1 minute. I will be back because I'm running out of energy. I have to plug. I have to plug
oh,
out.
oh, yeah, 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 yeah,
yeah,
One second.
that's totally fine. Yeah.
yeah. So
I still can hear you.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
good. You're like, I can still hear you.
Yeah.
Uh,
I can still hear you. Don't talk shit about me because I'm out of the
yeah,
room.
yeah, yeah. That's kind of like what it sounded like. I can still hear you. Don't say nothing.
Yeah.
Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing crazy. It
Well,
sounds like
Whoa.
of course.
Otherwise,
It almost sounded like my wife like coming in and like walking down the hallway going, "I can still hear you. Don't say nothing."
you never know.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
good.
That was
Good.
actually funny.
yeah. Don't implicate yourself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is one of the things that we always talk about how we like the organic feel of interviews because without that happening, we would have never got into that situation. So, uh,
Yeah.
it's pretty wild. Like we actually had some funny stuff happen on the show that stuck with certain bands, and like we still kid with them when we
Yeah.
conversate on social media. We'll still like throw the little
Like
innuendos and stuff
yeah,
out
the little,
there. Yeah, and it's funny because we all get a laugh out of it because we all
yeah.
kind of can go back and think about the interview and be like, oh, that's what they're talking about because we all know what we're talking about. So,
Yeah,
um,
little inside jokes that
yeah,
you develop as you build a relationship with a band. So it's kind of little details and stuff that stick around, which is cool. So
yeah. Let me find.
now let me ask you about a couple of songs on the new album, Dieter, because
Please.
you guys were pretty pissed off at a couple of things on a couple of these songs.
Yes.
Because I
Yes,
mean,
it
you know,
is.
because I mean, I was listening, listening to the album all the way through, and you start to pick up on things as you're listening to it for a second, third, and fourth time. But as I listen to it more and more, start to pick up on some things, and Mouth Warrior and History Twister,
Yeah.
um, you
Yeah,
guys were you guys were pissed off at some things, man. I
Yeah,
mean,
this is.
because you got History Twister, go fuck yourself. I
yeah,
mean, yeah,
The
like,
point is, there's one. I will show you. These are the shirts, right? And
yeah,
on the back side, we got. Yeah.
yeah.
Shut the fuck
oh,
up.
I
So
love
that
it.
means
Oh,
That is
this
awesome, man.
because
man,
this
I want one of those shirts. Oh my god.
this is really because Hansi is writing the lyrics, and if you know Hansi, he's a quiet person when he's not singing. He's really thinking a lot, a very intelligent person, but not in ordinary life. He's not always the big performer, right? He's
Hmm.
more, yeah. So, and but he's thinking a lot, and there are things which really makes him aggressive. Yeah, like I don't know. Can you do a beep on that? I know that in the US
Oh no, there
there's
you don't
not
have
every word allowed, right, to say, but I don't know. In Europe, we are there not so. So that means, for example, auto wankers sitting on their sofas and feel like heroes when they're writing comments or
hmm
this is. I think this is one of the content of Mouth Warrior. So that means there are several things where he's really pissed off, right?
yeah
And this
yeah
record was a chance for him to let it all out,
yeah
right? I think it's exactly the songs you mentioned before, Mouth Warrior, for, especially where he's really using some hard words. So that this is it's very healthy for him, let me say, yeah,
oh
to
absolutely
really
yeah
leave that all out. And yeah, that's true. You know, we are living in really special times. We are really living in very special times, and I think you got the same view from the US on that too. Suddenly, there's a war in Europe again, and we're talking about that energy crisis. We're talking about whatever, and a lot of strange things are happening.
Mhm.
And yeah, and social media doesn't make it better, if you ask me. Social
No, it's
media
not.
is
No, it's
so.
it's really a double-edged sword. It really is.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is really, using social media, what we do at the moment is perfect, right? For
hmm
entertainment, for
Right.
information, for all that. But some people really mistreat that. And
I was about to say that. So I was about to say like it's
yeah,
one of those tools that get abused. So
yeah,
Absolutely.
it's really
unfortunately,
important.
somebody's going to abuse whatever we do. So you know,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's
there's
true.
always that one guy or girl or whatever. But
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And this is really the content. Just read the lyrics. I don't know. Did you stream that, or do you have the record, or what?
oh, well, I streamed it on Spotify. I'd
Yeah.
love to have like
Stream that.
I'm a hard copy guy, and we was actually
Yeah.
going to get to that at some point. But yeah, I will find out how to get my hands on a hard copy. So
Yeah.
I,
Same.
I like having hard copies in hand too because I still have the old school
It's really fun to.
stereo system in the house with record player, cassette, and CD
Yeah.
changer. So
It's really fun to lean back and reading the
Mhm.
lyrics while
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hansi shouts that out. This is really funny. This is really entertaining, right? And listening to the music is one thing, but looking behind that, what does he want to say? And this is the reason why, for example, Mouth Warrior got this this dark culture in the beginning where he's singing
hmm
so low and growing up then, and this belongs to the story of the song, right? And to suddenly understand, okay, this is the reason why he's singing this like that. And
hmm
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So what exactly is the story about History Twister?
History Twister, this is a very European, special European song. Everyone knows the story, what happens in the Second World War, right? We have
Yeah.
the Nazis here, right? And especially Germany and Austria and Japan have been influenced so much by this, speakers like Hitler and all of that, and they really thought that they are doing the right thing. And everyone knows today that this was one of the biggest mistakes in history.
Yeah.
But believe it or not, the scene is coming up again in Europe, right? This is growing. That's
Really.
the Nazi scene is growing, right?
oh
And
god,
this is really a nightmare. All that thoughts are running again in a lot of people, On our last vote, we have one party here. We have a lot of people coming exactly from this culture. They had about almost 30%. This is quite a lot.
Wow.
And yes, and they are telling stories which are not true, right? They are
Okay. Makes sense.
twisting the history, right?
Yeah.
They are turning facts around. No, it wasn't so. It was they're really people. They say all that stories with a judge people. It's not true, right? Something like this,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
this is what Hansi means with history twister.
Okay. I had a feeling, obviously, just by the title of the song, that it had to do something like that, but I didn't know it
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
something so specific. But
So
man,
is that kind of where the album name came from too? Is just losing faith in like things like that, or
Yes, you know, when you go all over that songs and all that political things or economical things and all the stuff, especially, okay, we are at the moment we are throning in news, right? We got news on TV, we got news on social media, we got news everywhere, right?
yeah,
So in the past there was not so much news, but it is really like to see all that that people I explained before. You're starting to lose faith in the
hmm
people, right?
yeah,
This is really, and this is why we choose this picture. It was hard to get one who draw it like this. So that means there is this soldier, right, who is coming out of a burning whatever, and he's losing one weapon, but still raising a fist. So let us go on, right? And
yeah.
exactly this picture, right?
here?
And
Since we're talking about it, here we go. So,
yeah, yeah, this is the picture. So that means it is something like frustration, but still go on and fight for that.
Yeah.
This cover got nothing to do with military. This is just a symbol, right?
yeah.
And
Sure.
so and that burning wing is exactly going in this direction. So this is what we meant there.
So who did the artwork on that for you guys?
It was the only guy in the whole game. Um, it's written on the cover. I discussed with him a lot of times. A lot of times. He was a recommendation from the guy from the studio, from René.
Okay.
René has his own bands. He has two bands, and I told him that I was looking for an artist who can make this picture, what we have in our head. And sorry, just let me check the name. Just let me check the name. It's a little bit dark in my office, and my eyes are getting bad. So decided Christian Brüllenhorst. Yes, this is his name, Christian.
Okay.
Christian Brüllenhorst. He's from Germany, and yeah, and I had a phone call with him the first time, and then he directly came up with this idea of that angel soldier, right? And I said, "Oh, that sounds good." And yeah, then we started with that.
Yeah, that's pretty good. We like to get as much info as possible so that everybody can kind of get credit for what you guys are doing. You know what I mean? So everybody like sees and hears the band, but there's a lot more behind the scenes that go into making these records. And I think a lot of those
And
guys
there's so many
don't get
people
the
involved.
yeah. And I think like with doing these kind of things, they don't get the recognition they should on like podcasts and interviews and stuff like that because people don't ask about who produced or who did this or
Yeah.
it's so those guys kind of get
You
kind of
cannot imagine if you're doing a video like we do the Hellfire video, right?
right.
When you're looking at that video, everything looks so simple, and
Yeah.
so many people around you. We, yeah, that, yeah, really many people involved
Yeah. Well, I
in
mean,
the whole production.
yeah, that's kind of like I do some acting on the side too. So it's kind of like we had like 30 of us in this one place, and we were doing this shoot or whatever. And then like when they sent it to me, I was just like, wow, this is amazing because we were just in a green room and there was nothing there. You know what I mean? So we're reacting to nothing, but they make it something. You know what I mean? It's kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's crazy how like we do these certain things and then they know like if somebody's facing this way and that way, they know to put somebody here and there to, kind of like to show that what we're reacting to, and like that's kind of a lot of times that's kind of a natural instinct is how you react to certain things, and then they just use that and put this background in there, and when they send it to you, it's just like, oh, this is crazy, dude. Like this, it's just amazing. Like video work and stuff just amazes me.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we had
Everything
another
is possible.
Yeah, we had another question for you here. Actually,
Yep.
it was something I was going to ask at some point too, but they wanted to know a question of curiosity. What is the meaning or what does Pyracanda mean? And he said
Okay,
it
good.
sounded like an indigenous name. So
No, yeah, not too bad. Not not a bad intention, but not true. The point is, when we started with it all in the 80s, of course, thinking about a band name, and everyone had names like Death and Blood and Kill, and and to be honest, this is boring, right? Because yeah, because this is exactly what everyone expects when talking about metal, right?
Hmm.
That
Right. Yeah.
this band got something to do with death and blood and hell and fire and blah blah blah. So that means, um, and we don't have this normally. Okay, there's some exceptions on the new album, but we don't have that aggressive lyrics. We are not talking about dead people and all that stuff. So that means, that we need something else, and maybe not so hard. And Pyracanta comes from the botanic stuff. This is a plant, and everyone knows that plant. This is a bush with red, that red little things on. Everyone knows that. It's a fire thorn. I don't know if this is the right English word, a fire thorn. And this thing has thorns. This has thorns, and on every cover you find the thorns. On the new album, we have this thorns everywhere, right? And we even have an album which is called Thorns, right?
Right.
And so this is one of our symbols are the thorns. And this thorns in this plant, in the Pyracanda plant, in the fire thorn. And then we said, okay, let us name after this plant. So this is just a botanic thing. Nothing to do
Nice.
with that or horror or Holocaust or whatever.
Well, speaking of this question might make you laugh. I hope it does because it made me laugh when I realized what I was listening to. Now, on on the hold on a second, I had it pulled up. Okay, here we go. On the album Thorns, like you were just talking about, because you're talking about historically you don't have super duper aggressive lyrics. Whose idea was it to sing about Montezuma's revenge?
Good question. I think it was Elma. I think it was Elma. You know what it is, right?
Yeah, I know
You know
exactly
what
what it is.
everyone knows what it is.
Yeah, I know
And
exactly what it is.
this is when you don't want to sing about killing everything and all that stuff and death and devil. You're singing about liquid shit. This is true. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Maybe we had some time. I can imagine that. I don't know if the lyrics are coming from Elma or Hansi, I think from Elmer. But maybe he was sitting on the toilet and was exactly in this situation, and he said, "Hey, this is so painful. I have to write lyrics about it." Maybe I got no idea.
Because
Yeah.
because when I first listened to the song, going back and listening to the first couple albums, I didn't realize at first what song I was listening to, because I was listening to it while I was on my commute, so not completely paying attention to one song to the next as I was listening to it. Um, it took me a minute to realize, because getting into the chorus, I was like, the first time I heard the chorus, I was like, wait a minute, what? And then I happened to like look over, because I'm just driving my truck, like paying attention to the road, listening to these songs and everything, because it's track number 7. So I mean, I'm into the album and everything, and I'm with it being track number 7, I'm kind of getting close to the end of the album. So
But
I'm driving along and I'm listening to it. Like I said, this is the first time I'm listening to the album. So I'm driving along, and
what was your overall recognition of that album? Because these two albums are completely different, right? This one
Mhm.
is more straight, and this is a little bit more experimental. How do
Yeah,
you recognize that?
yeah, absolutely, yeah. And so like I say, I'm listening to the album for the first time, and I'm driving, so I'm focused on the road, not really so much like, all right, which track am I on? And then I get to the chorus, and I was like, did he just say what I think he just said? And I look down, and I look over at the instrument panel over there, and I look at the little display. I said, they wrote a song about Montezuma's revenge. It's like, oh, all I could do, and all I
Of
could do
course,
was
we
laugh.
do.
I was like, this is awesome. It was like,
This is awesome.
I was like, it's like, hey,
Yeah.
all the things that I've ever listened to, all of the subjects all of the topics I've ever listened to in heavy metal, like you say, war and death and blood and hellfire and all this stuff. So I'm talking about, like you said, liquid shit. I'm like, this is fantastic. I was like, I love this. All I could do was laugh. I was like, this is amazing. I was like, I love this.
Who knows?
So
Maybe this Montezuma's revenge is more pain than hellfire. Who knows that?
that's true. That's true. Ugh. But yeah, no, it was super duper funny, because, like I said, I had no idea it was coming, and even when I was listening to it, it wasn't even until I heard the chorus that it even dawned on me, and then all I could do,
You're
I was
trapped into Montezuma's revenge. Yes.
exactly, yeah. So I'm in my truck, I'm on the highway, and I'm just like laughing my ass off in traffic. I'm like, this is hilarious. So yeah, I was like, all right, whose idea was this?
Nice.
Uh,
Out. Out.
uh-oh.
Out.
Someone has invaded the studio.
What do you want?
And
I think
No.
someone wanted to be on the show.
Oh my god. That was
okay.
a first. So, uh, well, not a first for them. Like, I've had my granddaughter on here before, but she was like, I had her on the show. Like, they didn't come
Yeah.
they didn't come busting in. Like, I was like, what the hell? I forgot to lock the door, so that's on me. So,
Oh, good.
uh, all right.
Okay, well, in the chat, our friend Eduardo says that Moctezuma means what rages like a lord. That's what. So there you go.
Well, I mean, sometimes it does rage like that. So,
Sometimes it does. I think we've all. I'm pretty sure we've all had our Montezuma moments.
I'm pretty sure.
All right, so want to ask you about something we talked about in the studio before the show. You guys have a very unique distinction, apparently. Something else that you also mentioned that's on the back of the album. You want to tell us about your sponsorship?
Yeah, okay, Germany is known for good beer, right? Good beer and good cars is what the people say. Good, you can only do two good things. This is beer and cars. This is what some people tell us. And um, we have an endorsement with Bitburger. Bitburger is a brewery here in Germany. And as our record company, the guy Frank saw this, that we have, okay, all that ordinary music sponsors like Tama and all that. But then he's read Bitburger and he said, hey, mention that you are the only metal band who has Bitburger as an endorsement. So
Yeah.
this is funny. But yeah, why not? This is a good beer. And Germans and beer, and you know that story.
Oh yeah.
By the way,
I bet
you have to come if you mentioned before the show, you mentioned that you like Löwenbräu, Löwen with a Ö, right, with a Motorhead Ö, and you have to really come to the Oktoberfest in Munich, right? This is
that's one of my dream vacations is to go over there during October.
yeah, this is they're doing this 1 month. You don't need to stay for 1 month because after that you need vacation, right? But this is true.
you need a vacation for your vacation, yeah.
Yeah, they actually do that in other countries, just so we're aware. But
some people say that the German people don't have any kind of humor. And sometimes this is true in special situations. We got maybe another way of joking, like Montezuma's Ranch and all that. But if you see this crazy guys in their lederhosen with 1 liter beer in their hand and dancing on the tables, and not only 1/1000th of that, this is amazing. Believe me, this is really.
Yeah, I've only seen pictures, but it looks like it's an absolutely amazing time. And like I say, I don't even drink alcohol, but I would still that's still something that I would like to at least experience.
Yeah.
Just
Yes,
just
you have to.
just the magnitude of the celebration.
They got these beers without alcohol too.
Well,
that means you can have 1 liter beer without alcohol. And believe me, when you just see the pictures, you think they are playing only traditional German Blasmusik or something, right?
Sure.
They in between 4.5 hours they play Exit Light and the Night, right? They sing Metallica and all that. In between, and then they change back to the traditional music. This is really cool to go there.
well, we can go together, Chris, and I'll walk in. You can drag me out. So
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah. The funny thing is even people in this country like who do drink beer, I would be willing to bet that even a steady beer drinker here would probably get knocked on their ass by beer.
Oh yeah.
I guarantee you it's not. I guarantee you it's not even close to the same thing. The kind of beer you guys have.
Well,
Yeah,
no, because
it's not a Miller Lite.
well, no, but because here, even if they import it, it's watered down. So I mean,
Right.
so I mean, it's not. You're not getting what you're getting over there. Because I mean,
No,
you go into a brewery here because of the pretty much the laws here. You have to be certain percent under, or it's considered
I've been on a
liquor at some point. So
I've been at a Hofbräuhaus in Cincinnati one time, and they are brewing German beer over there in
Oh,
Cincinnati in the
okay.
Hofbräuhaus. Yeah, they do, and this is really good, really good. This I think the lager beer they're doing is even better than they do it in Germany, and
Oh, really?
really,
Okay. I wouldn't
really,
have guessed
really
that.
good. Yeah, yeah. So go to
Yeah, I wouldn't have.
Cincinnati, making some promotion for the Hofbräuhaus in Cincinnati. Maybe we have
Okay.
to. Maybe they can endorse us too.
Hey,
So
hey,
put
there you
them on
go.
the next record.
Well,
So,
there's definitely plenty of room on the back of an album cover.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
'cause the funny thing is like because the part of Michigan that I'm from, it only takes about an hour to get over the border into Canada.
Mhm.
And uh, growing up, when I was growing up in Michigan, because we would always, you would always hear people talk about Molson Canadian. Molson
Mhm.
Canadian is a beer, and you could find it all over the place in the
Mhm.
southeastern part of Michigan where I'm from. I mean, you can get it at gas stations, party stores, whatever. But
Mhm.
you would hear people talk about, well, this isn't real Molson Canadian. People are like, well, what are you talking about? And it's like you have the American version of Molson Canadian.
It's
You need
true.
to go. You go over the border.
It will
Just
knock you
go over the
out.
border. Yeah, just go over the border into Windsor, into Ontario, and get the real Molson Canadian. It'll knock you out. So
It's true.
so yeah, so I mean, like I say, never having experienced it myself, but I have heard stories. So
Yeah. Come over. You're welcome, and it will be a lot of fun. Believe me.
I
Um,
would absolutely love to. There are parts of Europe I would really like to go to.
Oh,
There
yeah, for
absolutely
sure.
And it's in the summertime, and you can maybe combine that with some German festivals here, with Wacken or something, right?
I would love to go to Wacken. I'd absolutely love to. God, I'd love to. Because I mean, we do have some good metal festivals here. We have a promoter over here, Danny Wimmer Presents, and he puts on some really good festivals. Uh,
Wow.
but I don't think anything. And even back when Ozfest was coming around here, back in the '90s into the mid 2000s, even some of the Ozfest lineups, some of those I still don't think they hold a candle to some of those European festivals like Wacken. It seems like every metal band who's half-ass made it at all plays at Wacken, and it seems like they all
I
play.
agree.
They play every time, and the footage I've seen from some of those festivals, I mean, the way the crowds interact with the bands and vice versa, it's just the energy that is just being exchanged is it's unreal to me just from what I've seen in videos and pictures and stuff like that. So I mean, to be able to
Come
come
over.
over, to be able to come over and to be able to go to something like that would be phenomenal. And
Yeah,
and
and
plus, I
it's
mean, plus there's literally just places I want to see in Europe just for the historical aspect and the architectural aspect and stuff like that. So I mean, it wouldn't be just to come over for the music, but I mean, just
yeah.
you know,
There are other things to see too.
yeah,
That's true.
absolutely.
Europe is
So
really, yeah, and
Oh, yeah.
we always have a lot of people from the US, from Japan, from everywhere. They're coming to Germany and to Italy and to Austria, Vienna,
yeah,
for example. Unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
this is nice, but I like the US too. My last vacation was there with my girlfriend and her daughter, been in Miami, and yeah, that was a nice time this summer. And I would like to play concerts there. That means, hey, when you got some
Hmm.
connections,
yeah.
recommend us.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you had have if you guys ever
We've
had.
never played in the US. Never played in the US.
Okay,
That
that's so.
means this really will be a first time. And if you got some connections, we're looking forward.
Yeah, the Nashville scene with metal. There's a lot of venues that are options for sure. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we
I,
get
I,
we get a chance to talk to anybody that that we know of who's trying to organize something. I mean, we'll definitely put the word out.
yeah,
Absolutely,
Good.
yeah, yeah.
without question. Yeah.
And we'll be there for sure if it happens. So,
Yes.
yeah,
Oh
so
my God, are you kidding me? Hell yeah.
there's the beer, Dieter, that I actually drink at the Irish pub there. I actually found a picture of it finally. So I don't know if you can
You
see
may
that
have
there or
to.
not. So,
As I say,
What
you
is
may
that
have.
one?
let me see if I
Ah,
can.
this is the Krombacher. I cannot see that. This is too far away.
Yeah,
Got this
Yeah,
little
see if you can like change.
concrete. Yes. 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 Yes.
I don't know if that makes it any better or not. So
No, no, no. It's
there
good
we
to
go.
see.
There it is.
This is it Löwenbräu? No.
It's like it's a Hofbrau, I guess is how they. It's eight.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah,
Hofbräuhaus.
yeah.
This is the brand who's doing the Hofbräuhaus,
Yeah,
right?
so
This is the brand.
that's like the only German beer that this pub carries too.
Oh,
So it's,
really, really. So
yeah,
this
so
is a good one. This is
yeah, it
from
is. It's really
Bavaria.
good. That's usually what I order when like I'll try something else, but that's my go-to if I go there. I'm like, hey, just
This brewery is directly in the middle of Munich. Really, yeah, original Bavarian beer.
yeah, it's a really good one. It's like I like the ones like I'm not really a dark beer drinker, so it's
No, this is a lager, right? This is not a dark beer.
right. Yeah, it's a lager. I usually do lagers or ambers or something like that. I'm not much on the IPAs and
Yeah.
porters and all that stuff. I don't know. Sometimes like to me, like a porter to me is just like mud. I was like, I don't know, we'll be drinking mud, but
Normally, we don't have that in Germany.
yeah,
This normally all the beers coming from Germany are very clear,
right.
like a lager beer, for example, without any spices or stuff, right? So
Mm.
this is just a beer, and you can see through that, and it's ordinary
Yeah,
beer without any.
I have an uncle by marriage who drinks Bach beer, but I don't know what
But you say but or
Bach
back?
Bach, I think is what it's called, Bach. But I don't know who brews it. I'd have to ask him. But it's like this. If I remember right, it's like this really dark beer. So I'm not
Oh
even.
yeah,
I'm not even 100% sure it's like authentically German beer. I don't know because I don't really know much about
Really?
it.
well,
But
there's different forms of that one. They have a German Bach, and then they have an amber Bach, and then they have a Bach, just a regular Bach, and so
so I'm not.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
So I'm not.
there's all kind of different ones of that brand. So
Yeah, I'm not.
I was looking it up. I was like, I've heard of that before, but I couldn't remember like what all it
Yeah, I don't like beers who are too dark and too heavy, right?
exactly. Yeah,
Like a meal, and because this is I don't want to explain that Montezuma Revenge story.
Oh my god! Yeah, we don't want to
Yes,
circle back to
yeah, I
that.
was about to say, yeah, let's just say no more. You're
Yeah.
fine.
No, that's not good.
Yeah, so Dieter, before we wrap up, we always like to get. I know you guys have done some stuff in between, the Pyracanda and the other projects. So I know you guys have toured a little bit. So is there any like stories that stick out to you guys when you're from a tour or a venue or anything like that? I mean, it doesn't have to be crazy, but just anything that ever stuck out to you guys.
Always funny stories.
I like it when people start like when we ask the question and people are like, God, which one do I tell?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like this.
And then I'm like, damn, we could have spent 2 hours just talking about that. So
Yeah, yeah. When you're on tour or you're playing a lot of concerts, you're all alone with the guys. I remember that was funny and not so long ago. After or during Corona time, this is cool. It happened a few years ago during the Corona time. I explained we play on that Headbangers festival in the north of
Yep.
Germany, and because that was something like for us, it was like a release from the Corona feeling. Yeah, we can walk without masks and all that stuff. And we decided, hey, let us have a nightliner. And that was not on the tour. That was just at one show. But we decided to have a nightliner and put the whole families in there, right? Our whole families,
Mhm.
and to celebrate this as a party, like release from Corona, right? And it's funny, I'm drinking Corona beer. Okay, good. And but don't tell Bitburger. And and we were driving to this festival, which is far away from here. Germany is not so small as some people think.
Sure.
A lot of hours driving. And then the producer called me on my mobile and said, "Hey, Dieter, when will you arrive?" And I said, "I will arrive at this time. And you know that we're coming with a nightliner." He said, "No." I said, "No." "Yes, I have no space for a nightliner." And that was really funny. It was then they rebuilt a whole area for us. That was just for fun. And then the second time we played there, that was this year. He sent me the contract, and he told me on the phone, "But don't come with a nightliner again."
He actually put it in the contract.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was really no, it was not in the contract, but he just
Oh, it
mentioned
wasn't.
it.
Oh,
Please
okay.
don't.
Okay.
No, it wasn't. But yeah, these are things that happens. You know, this is I don't know if you understand that. These are funny situations when he's just calling, "When will you arrive?" Just that everything is prepared, and then I said this, and he said, "What?" I have to change the whole plan. Yeah, that was funny, but it was a nice time with all the families on one bus. You know, that was really amazing for us after the Corona time, especially.
Right. Especially then, yeah, when everyone finally felt like they could,
Yeah, being
at
free
least,
again, and
yeah, live a halfway normal life, like you say, even if it was just for like a day or two, just trying to get out of the house and everything, because yeah, it was a very strange time.
yeah. But
Even
this
looking
many
back on it,
stories.
just a few years ago, just like, man, it's weird that we went through what we went through, just crazy. But
And then, yeah,
so
that so many funny stories, right? In Hungary, to sign on a women's breast and all that, and that was that never happens again, and that was a really strange situation because we've been backstage, funny, we've been backstage, and a father and his daughter came around. Daughter was about
oh, okay, all right.
17, 18. And he was standing beside the daughter while we were signing on her boobies, right? And
Oh no.
it was
Oh
really,
wow.
really true. And that was something where you, for my culture, I said, this is a little bit strange, but yeah, that
Yeah,
was
I would
funny.
say, yeah, I would say, hell, that would be a little strange for our culture over here.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, this
It
is
would just be, yeah.
completely. And I don't know if it was Dennis or Sven asked me. I thought this only happens in fairy tales yeah, and metal fairy tales. Yeah, and a lot of funny things like that. Yeah, yeah. Don't want to go in detail, but yeah, good stuff.
Yeah,
Cool.
very good stuff.
So before we kind of end this thing, Dieter, you want to tell everybody where they could pick up merch or anything like that, and if you got any upcoming shows you want to talk about, or
We are planning shows for the summer. Unfortunately, this album that was a bad timing from our side. It was released 1 month ago, and we were concentrating on the record. And now it's almost too late for the booking of the festivals next year.
Right.
But
Yeah.
we got some opportunities still because maybe this is the reason why the most records are released in the earlier in the year, right? So they have a
Sure.
chance to go on the festivals. So, but that was maybe bad timing. But yes, there will be some opportunities next year. Unfortunately, only in Europe. We got one Japan option, but
Oh,
this is
nice.
what yeah, this is true. We are selling about 25% of our records in Japan. This is unbelievable. And
Nice.
yeah, and but nothing signed so far. And but we'll see. I think we will play live. We will not, we are not the kind of bands who play every week or something. Yeah, we don't feature to death with our music. Yeah, this is we. Yeah, some bands do that, right?
Yeah.
Wherever
Yeah.
you look, the promotion of whatever. And no, we don't do that. When we play at a festival, it is really a selected festival, and maybe 6, 8 times a year, something,
Mhm.
not more often. Except you organize us 3 in the US, then we will play 9
Yeah.
shows in the year. But yeah, there that will be on our homepage. Everything you can buy is you can buy, of course, this albums over the record company just to make some promotion, and we have a split the records. That means the record itself and the CDs are sold by the record company. The merchandise you can get over our homepage. We got a lady who's doing nothing else than that, and yeah, it's a very funny T-shirt. So what I just showed you.
Oh, I want that
So
shirt.
Yeah.
for the
Well,
for the new
I do. I
album.
want that shirt.
yeah. Normally we don't wear a lot of band shirts that we don't see, but seeing as we don't get to see a lot of bands from over there, we will buy stuff from
Oh.
from a lot of overseas bands because
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
the
good.
chances of them getting over here, in the next few years, like you may have another album out by the time you get over here. Who knows?
Okay.
But it's
Maybe.
just kind of one of those things where we talk to bands about how they say it's difficult to get a tour going over here because you have to plan it, strategically plan it out to where you're back
This
on the
is the
plane
point.
and get back over across and all that. So
And
it's
and it's just a lot of ground to cover
it
over
is,
here.
yeah, because
This is a big country,
yeah,
much bigger than Germany. So
Yeah.
this is true. And yeah, in the end, you don't, for us, it is okay to be 0-0, but we don't want to spend money into that, right? We
right,
don't
right,
Yeah.
want to throw our money in that hole. So it should be good calculated, as you say,
Absolutely.
because in the end, you have to fly over. You have to sleep anywhere.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Got to
this is
eat.
good. Okay,
yeah.
I'm eating at home too, right? This is not a point, but this is something we have to calculate. But
Yeah,
there's
and I,
always a way.
and I think we talked to somebody a while back about the same thing, and they said it's almost easier to get on a bill with a bigger name band that's already coming. That way you're kind of getting you're gonna get something out of it because they already have a name and people are going to see them. So then you're gonna have that much more people seeing you guys. So that's even better. So
This this is exactly the reason why we decided only to play on festivals. We will make
right,
one show for to celebrate the new album in April something. But the rest of the concert will be on festivals because this is very easy. When you are doing a show for your own, only the people will come who know you already, right?
right,
And
Yeah.
and the fan base will not grow in that case. So, but when you're
Right.
playing on a festival, then there are some new people who listen to you. Of course, some people say, "Oh, I hate them," or they are not good, and have a look at
That's
his
true.
hair. But some others will say, "Hey, I like that, and I will buy that record," and then your fan base is growing. And I think this is the easiest way And this is a win-win. This is good for the promoter, and this is good for us in that case, right? And this is the reason
Well,
why we decided to do that on the festival side.
I'll say this: if any of you guys that are listening see a German thrash metal band on a bill, 99% of the time you're gonna like it.
Go.
You're gonna
Yes,
like
go.
it. So, I mean
I
that like,
haven't.
the
Yeah.
Germany, man. They, you talk a lot about political stuff over there, but man, I think Germany is probably one of the biggest contributors to metal. I mean,
They,
from especially from Europe, from that area.
and
Sweden and Nordics are not bad too, right? That
Right,
means
right, right. But I'm
in the
just saying, like,
Nordics you find,
I would
but we
say
got
if you go
we got
back,
bands like Creator and Tankard
yes.
and all that.
I
Yeah,
mean,
we
well,
got
I
that.
mean, even going all the way back to the Scorpions. I mean,
Yeah,
they kind of laid
absolutely.
a trail in the '70s. I mean, Germany's kind of
I
built
don't
off
even
of that.
know. I don't even know if they're still living in Germany. I think they're living in the US in the meantime. But
Probably, yeah.
yeah, but the original they're from Hanover. That's true. Yes.
yeah.
Hmm.
But I
Yes.
mean, if it tells you if it tells you nothing else, German German thrash metal has its own name.
Right.
That's because I mean,
Exactly. Yeah.
so for the people who don't know, I mean, Teutonic metal. I mean, that's what it is. So the German thrash movement has its own name. So if it tells you anything about how influential it is, you don't get your own name for the sound you create
Right.
if you're
Exactly.
not
Mhm.
if you're not having an influence. So you've got, I mean, you got Rage, Destruction. You have a band that I just discovered like this past week, Paragon. I mean,
Oh
they
yes, yes,
they
yes, yes.
just
Nice, nice,
yeah,
good guys.
they just they just put out their 13th album. So their album that came
Unbelievable.
out last week. Again, it's a perfect example of why we do this show. I had never heard of Paragon until last week, but they
Mhm.
just put out their 13th album. But you have
Good people.
Creator,
Good people.
you have Paragon, Creator, Destruction, Rage, Pyracanda, Accept. I mean, you have all of these bands just from one country, and they've been so influential in a subgenre of music that they have their own musical movement and it has a name to it. That's how you know it's influential. That's how you know that they've done something that's started something or influenced something or whatever. That they've so German heavy metal in general, but German
Well,
thrash metal to be more specific has made an indelible mark.
well, the thing is too. This isn't.
I'm
This isn't.
growing, as you can see. Yeah.
Yeah. This
Yes,
isn't.
and growing.
Yeah, and this isn't a name that came up overnight. I mean, this is something they've been, uh, you know, categoried into since the 30 years. So I mean,
Long time.
yeah. So
Yes.
it's not like, oh, this is just now becoming a thing. No, German thrash metal
No.
has been a thing for a long time. So,
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah. So pretty much anytime I hear of a thrash metal from Germany, I was like, I want to hear that. Yes, I
yeah,
absolutely.
exactly,
Yes,
exactly.
yes,
I
give
want
it
to
to
hear
me.
that.
Yes,
Yeah,
give it to me.
because like I said, 90% plus of the time it's going to be, oh, I like this.
I don't think I've heard a German thrash metal band I didn't like.
Right.
I mean, and that's not hyperbole either. I mean, that's true. I mean,
Yeah.
Germany can crank out some thrash metal. It is insane. German, as far as I would say, as far as just thrash metal, I'm not talking about because Sweden puts out. I mean, we've had so many guests from
Absolutely.
Sweden
Yeah.
and Scandinavia in general. We've had Finnish
Absolutely.
bands in here too, but so Scandinavia doesn't mess around either. But when you're just
It's another
concentrating it to
style. It's another style.
it absolutely is.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I mean, when you're talking about just thrash metal, I would say Germany is probably 1A to the US's or 1B to the US's 1A. I mean, the United States has got like the legendary heavy metal bands, Metallica, Megadeth. I
Absolutely.
mean, we got the big four, of course, but so we have the big four. But I mean, there is a German big four, and there's a German big four for a reason.
Right.
And hell, I even forgot to mention Sodom when I was listing off all those
Yeah.
It's
bands. But I
true.
mean,
Stardom Destruction Creator.
yeah, but I mean, you
Tankard.
can't Tankard. Yeah, you can't. So yeah, you can't forget about those guys either. So I would say thrash metal wise, Germany. I mean, we're right here, and Germany's probably like right here. So I mean,
Yeah.
but I mean,
It's
and
pretty.
I mean,
It's pretty
it,
close, man.
it is very very close. But yeah, but I see thrash in Germany. I'm like, give. Yes, please. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, we go into these things blind because, like I said, we didn't know Pyracanda was from Germany until one of us listened to the
Until
album.
and
So
right until we dug in. Yeah.
yeah. So it's kind of like once I did see that when I looked you guys up, I said, "Oh, this is going to be good."
Hmm.
I didn't even have to hear it. I was just like, "This is going to be
Right.
good," and it
I'm pretty
was.
sure. I'm pretty sure when you're here for the Oktoberfest, you will have the chance to see a lot of bands.
Yeah.
A lot of
Oh,
bands.
Oh,
yeah. So that's one of the things like me and my wife do if we go. Like every time we go on vacation, we always find a show while we're on vacation because I always like to experience different venues in different parts of even America, not even saying the world, but just different parts of America. It's just because we got some legendary venues here, from the '80s, the Cat House and stuff like that, which I don't think that's a thing anymore. But I'm just saying there's some that are still standing. Just like I went to the machine shop, a while back
hmm
and seen a show because that's one of the legendary venues for rock and metal throughout the years. And like I could go, like I went in there and I could just stand there and just look at the walls of all the bands that had played in that venue, and I'm just like, this is freaking crazy to see all the bands that have played in that venue that couldn't now because their fan base is so huge that they couldn't play
Yeah.
there,
Yeah,
unless it
yeah,
was
yeah,
just an
yeah.
unannounced show or under some other name. Because I have heard of that
Right.
happening before too. They just go under another name, but and then if you're not following their as a close fan, you wouldn't know they went by that name. So I know Mastodons did that a couple of times, and they got another name they use to do little private shows in Atlanta and stuff that people that follow them know that. But I was like, I didn't know that. I said, well, if I knew that, I went to that show because, but I didn't know they went by a different name. So
Right.
it's pretty funny. But yeah,
But this
so
is this all over metal. Don't forget that the biggest band currently on Earth is a metal band, right?
right,
It's the
exactly,
biggest band on Earth. Is
yeah,
Metallica. It
Yeah.
is.
Yes. Yeah.
They're soaking
So
the
ever
most
so,
people.
yeah. So yeah, everybody out there, listen to what he just said. The biggest band on the planet is a metal band.
yeah.
You
And that's
can
like one of the things we were talking about on the show a while back is they put out this big thing like it's some big feat that Taylor Swift made this much money and was the biggest tour all year. And I said, well, yeah, that's because Metallica don't play 180 shows a year. I mean, if Metallica played 180 shows a year, Taylor Swift wouldn't stand a fucking chance. I'm sorry, it would not happen.
no.
Like, like
I,
Yeah.
I've never of course there are different musics on the planet, and I love it that we are so different. But I never understand that a Taylor Swift type. I never
yeah,
understand that.
we hey, trust me, we don't
Same.
either. We don't either.
Yeah. Same.
They're really good musicians in pop music, yeah. Really good musicians in pop music and all that. But the
Well,
Taylor Swift stuff,
the
what is
thing
so
with
special on that?
I don't know.
No,
But
that's a
I
great
don't
question.
understand.
That
the
is
thing
a great.
I had this argument with somebody a while back, and I said, "Hey, I'll challenge you to this. Go look at a Taylor Swift record or whoever you like, and see how many people wrote or was involved in writing those songs." I said, "Then take this metal album right here and go look and see who wrote and is involved in those songs, and then you can get back to me, dude. How about that?" So, because I guarantee you, the people that are involved in writing that metal album are the people in the band and nobody else. And if you go to the other one, you're going to have about 15 different people writing one song, and I'm like, oh well,
Exactly.
and it's going to be like something like right off the top of my head, the only thing I could think of is like a Justin Bieber song. It was like "Baby, Baby, Baby" like 50 times. I'm like, damn, it took 5 people or 12 people to write that fucking song. Like, really?
Right.
It's like, well, call yourself Mr. Creative, I guess, but you know, but yeah, it's like
I've nenever understood that.
I don't either. It's like if you're going to be a performer
Just give me a second. There's someone on the door. Just wait. Just
oh
one
yeah,
second.
you're good.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I just feel like in that sense, it's you're an artist, and in the end of the day, you want to be known for your artistry. But if part of that's not in the songwriting, then I don't understand it. So
Yeah, see, that's. I mean, unless you're going to be upfront about the fact that, hey, I'm singing this song that so and so over here wrote. This is a song by so and so, and
right,
they can't. They're like they can't sing, but they wrote a song and they wanted me to sing it. So here's so and so song. I could actually be on board with that.
Yeah,
I really could. I could be on board with that.
like
But I mean, don't.
like some Milli Vanilli shit, you know. Like, so,
Well,
uh,
well, you know.
well,
But
you know, take two
it's
guys that look good, and because the other guy was older, he wanted to, you know,
well, yeah.
perform
So, I mean,
and sing it, but he knew he wouldn't draw like they did. So
right. So I don't know. It just seems a little. It just comes off as a little disingenuous to me sometimes.
yeah, and that's what I say about the metal field is, you know, the metal world is like you look at that stuff and you see, you know, two, three, four top people, you know, writing songs. I mean, it's usually, you know, very seldom do you even see a song where every person in the band had a you know, spot in writing one song. It's usually, you know, three wrote this one or two wrote that one, or you know,
Right. Yeah.
it's never like all five members. You know, if you look at a Metallica song, there's never, oh well, James, Rob, Lars, and Kirk all wrote it. No, there's probably not. You know, if it does happen, it's not very often. You know?
Yeah. Not really. Yeah.
So,
Of course, historically, we know that the only two guys in Metallica that got the writing credits were James and Lars anyway. But
well,
so yeah,
yeah, but
for the longest time, they were the only two credited for a lot of things. But I mean,
well,
they've loosened that up over the years, thankfully. But
well, I mean, I was just kind of using that as an example. I mean,
yeah, no,
like I said, if you go back and look at Megadeth's early stuff, it's probably just going to have David and David on it. So I mean,
yeah,
you know, so
yeah,
course.
So, yeah, so you know, but I'm saying is like even with the metal songs, I was being generous and saying every person in the band wrote that song compared to the 12 that wrote this song. I mean, honestly,
Right.
a lot of times it's not even all members of the band. It's usually just
Exactly.
two, 3 members. So you had those 2 or 3 members that can outright these other 12 people. So
Oh, well, and especially when you're putting lyrics side by side, because
right,
I know that meme that you're talking about with the because it's a two panel meme, and in the one panel it's the lyrics for Jesus Christ, I just went blank. Um, for Holy Wars, the punishment due, and then you've got some Justin Bieber song where like almost all the lyrics of this Justin Bieber song are baby, 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 baby.
repetitive, yeah, and it's
And then you have the lyrics for Holy Wars, the punishment due, and it's such an in-depth, complex arrangement of lyrics that Dave wrote by himself, and then you've got this mind-numbing,
yeah.
just
I've even seen that
oh,
meme with
God.
you know, Freddie Mercury of Queen on the other side, and it's like all that he wrote the whole song by himself, and then like all
Yeah.
these people writing, you know, this one repetitive song, and I'm just like, wow, like
Bohemian Rhapsody, you mean?
what's
Yeah,
that?
especially on Bohemian Rhapsody, right? That
Yeah,
song.
yeah.
They
I think that was the one. Yeah.
they recorded this song. This is unbelievable in 3 different studios in Munich to the same time. To the same time, and he had that completely. This is a very yeah massive song with a lot of elements. He had that final song in his head, and everyone was doing his work in parallel in different studios, and then they put this together um, to the song. Unbelievable! This is
I never
genius. This is
I
genius.
never knew that. I
I didn't
never knew
either.
that.
That's pretty wild.
It's,
That's
really
amazing to
genius.
find that out.
Yeah, yeah. And if you hear that with all the choirs and everything they use there, this is a massive work, right? And yeah, a genius guy,
No, absolutely.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Un,
that
un,
too.
un,
Bless you.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. I made sure I muted the mic for that.
Well,
Good.
yeah, but yeah, Dave, we'll cut this off here. Just say I just want to say thank you for taking your time out of your evening to join us and
Absolutely.
talk
Yeah.
about the band and everything upcoming. So you know, everybody can kind of go over to the website there and order you some merch albums on it. So is that available only in album form right now? No CD or anything?
Uh, Sorry, can you repeat
The
that?
the new
The new
album
album.
is it just in
Yeah,
album form only right now, or
it's out as a vinyl and CD.
oh, it does have a CD too? Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, but the CD one is available, but only one is available on the website, and one is available on the buy from the record company, right?
On the record company, and we have some dealers in the US too. There are some the media deal. Just Google that. You will
Yeah.
find that.
Okay.
And
Okay.
if you don't, I think there are at least two who are selling that in the name of our record company in the US.
Okay.
And if you don't if you don't find someone, just go on the FHM homepage.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
Okay.
that's the one I was looking at was the FHM homepage. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I was on there earlier, and they've temporarily shut the store down because they went on vacation.
oh
But
really? Okay.
yeah,
Okay, okay,
but
that can
Yeah.
be. And do not
he's in the
hesitate because when you're arriving on that homepage, it's something like a shop. The first six CDs you will see are not from us
So,
and coming then, right?
Sure, yeah, but yeah, so he's
Lazy
so there was
Savage.
there was a message on there that said that the store would be back open on the 26th after they get back
oh,
from
okay.
vacation.
Gotcha.
Oh,
Okay.
really? Really?
They're on
Yeah,
holiday.
yeah,
On
because
the 26th of November?
yes, yeah, because
Yes, yes, yes. This is true. This is true. The lady
yeah,
is on
because
vacation. This is true.
yeah, it
She's in Japan, I think so.
yeah, it
Yeah,
says
yeah.
we are on vacation from November 14th till the 25th, so the store will be back open on the 26th. So
Okay, cool.
And it's funny. It's funny that I was looking at this platform, and it's very similar to Bandcamp here in the U.S., which is crazy. Yeah, it almost looks
Can
identical to it.
imagine.
Yeah,
Can
yeah.
imagine.
Because when I pulled it up, I was like, "Oh, is this Bandcamp?" And I was like, "Oh no, it's not. It's actually their
No,
record
no, no,
label." Like,
no.
oh,
This is a record label.
that's
Yeah,
crazy.
what else do you need? You don't need to find a history or whatever. They when you're arriving on the homepage, you see what you can buy, and this is what the people are looking for, right?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, absolutely.
So all the rest is
That was
yeah.
okay. That was an older one. So that
Yeah,
one.
but
That one.
I'm pretty sure that you can buy that in some record stores even. I received some pictures from record stores in Japan where our record stands, and so you will have that in the US too. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm actually on the actual band page, and I was like looking at stuff there. So,
Understand that.
man, y'all have some nice shirts, dude. There's
You really do.
even that Madness shirt. That Madness shirt is badass too, dude.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah,
got the
man.
cover from the first album on it. Yeah,
Ooh, they got
Yeah, this is
patches.
the cover from the first album.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
on our
The
homepage now. Yes.
yeah. We're over on your guys' website now. Yeah, the all of the shirts are actually well done. Even the one with just the word mark on it. I mean, they're all well done.
Yeah, I like that
Thank
skull one
you.
too. The rigor mortis one is pretty cool too, man.
Yeah, they're all very well done.
Yeah, that's good
Yeah.
stuff.
Wow. Thank
Yeah,
you.
one day I'll get that good because I'm kind of making our own stuff at this point. So
Right.
yeah, if you don't see like all the stuff behind, I got the heat press and stuff in behind me here. So,
The logo shirt, and this one are the bestseller, right? So that means the two sides of
That
a
makes
coin.
sense.
The two sides of a coin is sold out again. Even the record is sold out again for the fourth time now.
that's awesome.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, yeah. This is what we want to release the next time. We will release the two sides of a coin on vinyl as a picture disc, because then you have this face there on the picture disc, which is maybe good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
It
Yeah,
is.
yeah. Well, Dieter, man, like I guess, so thanks again, man, for joining us and sharing all the stories and the history of the
Thank you
band
very
and
much for
stuff.
inviting
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, man, it's
Yes.
very cool. And like I said, hopefully you guys can work something out where you get over here in the states at some point and we can check you guys out live. So
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Just recommend us; it will be helpful.
Yeah,
And
we
then
will.
maybe we see us live. Yes,
yeah,
Yeah,
looking forward.
we'll do everything we can.
yeah. If we see anything pop up, I'll tag the band and socials too. So
Yep.
you guys can kind of work something out with. So, because a lot of times over here they'll say, "Hey, you got any? We're going to do this festival. You got any bands that may be interested?" And then we tag some bands that we know
Yes, we do.
that's kind of close by the video, close by or whatever. And So, and we, like I said, we got a little bit of a reach over in Sweden. I think outside the U.S., Sweden is our next biggest audience. So,
I think so. Yeah.
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 Can imagine,
Yeah. I
yes.
believe so. But yeah,
So,
we'll do everything you can, Dieter. And like I say, it was great meeting
I'm
you.
looking forward.
yeah,
Yeah.
man. Like I
So,
said, anything you guys are putting on your socials, we'll be sure to share it over on ours as well, just to make sure that
of course, I will share
we,
it
ex- we
tomorrow.
we'll extend the reaches as much as we can. So,
That's right.
Yeah, I will do that. I will share the link you sent to me tomorrow. And because in Germany we got already 6:30 p.m.
Yep.
And yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
have to
Hell,
you,
it's
drive to my family
yeah.
now.
Hell. Yeah.
yeah,
Hell,
yeah, any
it's beer 30 over there.
Yeah,
So
any of those links I sent that you can share on socials will still be there. It'll be the same link. It'll just be a post live show.
It's a link you
So
sent me in the email, right? That
I sent you some. I sent you one for this show because this is the platform one. But the other ones I sent you for YouTube, Facebook, and
is three
Twitch.
or four links. Yes, I
Yeah, you can
remember.
share. You can share those. Those should be the same. So.
Okay, perfect.
yeah.
And
We'll
then
do that.
once I get done with this, I usually cut it up and get it ready for Spotify. So that usually takes me a couple of days. So I can share that one with you too as well
I will do it tomorrow.
when I get that done. So
Yep. That'd be fine.
Good. Thank you for inviting me.
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dieter. You have a good one, man.
Yep. Enjoy your Saturday night.
Bye bye. You too.
Mike, take care.
Greetings to the US. Bye bye.
Bye. All right. Where does he leave the studio?
Should
Where does he leave
oh
actually? You know?
he found it, I guess. So there you
Oh,
go.
did he? Okay, he found it. Okay, because I could still hear him. I was like, and I was
Yeah,
looking.
yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
where the hell does he?
Well, the thing is we could hear him, but nobody else could. So
Right? No, I
he was
know,
over there.
but I could still hear him. I was like, where does he? Where
Yeah.
does he leave? Because
Yeah.
this is still only our second week using this new
Yeah.
platform, and I was like, you know what? You know what, Dieter? That's a good question. Where do you where do
Yeah,
you
yeah.
leave?
We'll actually have to figure that out too. So
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Usually our broadcast is over when we leave, so it's kind
Right.
of
So I mean, we
it's
don't
kind of
have
a
to.
whole different it's a whole different thing then. So
Yeah, we don't have to do it on the fly.
yeah,
On the
right,
fly.
right. So but yeah, so cool.
But yeah, man, that was great to hear, like the history of a band that started. Let's face it, a long time ago. I mean, it's
It was
just. I mean, it was
87.
87. Yes, you're talking 37 years ago.
Yeah,
You
87.
know,
Yeah,
so that's a long time. But
yeah,
to hear him talk about the history of like when the band started, the ins and outs, it's like, hey, we did this for a little bit, then we stopped, then we were able to do something under a different name, and then that stopped. So, to be able to hear that, like, not every story goes in a straight line.
right.
Yeah,
So it's cool, man. Like
yeah,
they did their own thing and then they circled back to the your original product. So
yeah,
so it's like I mean, and honestly, if they hadn't done those things, would it led them back to this? It's kind of like you just don't know. So it's good to hear those stories. So. And like I said, most of the time when you hear those stories where they've had hiatuses, I mean, most people played in other bands. They just,
hmm
at some point wind up being like, "Hey, man, I want to start this back up. Are you interested?" And most of them are like, "Yeah, let's do it." So,
yeah,
which is cool that you got that relationship that's been so long, and then you can still, well, in their case, they actually most of them still played together in the other projects. So it's kind of like they didn't really lose any contact between each other. So,
right. Yeah,
which
it
is
was good. It was good they were able to stay in contact and all that stuff, and everything worked out, in the end. And then here they are. I mean, they've got a record that is doing well. I mean, he even mentioned that it's doing well in Japan, which is cool.
yeah, that's awesome, dude. Like,
Yeah.
like I said, there's when you're into those bigger countries like that, it's always good. I mean, I'm pretty sure Japan may be closer for them than to come over here. So, I don't know. I don't know what the distance is from there to there.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just saying. Look, map wise, when you look at it, you would think it would be closer, but that doesn't really tell a tale of anything. So,
Well, yeah, that's true.
so
That's true.
because I mean, if you think about it, you kind of depends on which way you travel across the pond, I guess. So,
Well, that's true. Yeah, that is true.
so if the Earth was flat, it would only be in one direction. So, just so you know.
Right. That's true. That's true.
Well, that's a conversation for another day, I guess. But
For a completely different website too. So.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, but yeah, we appreciate Dieter Whitbecker, bassist for Pyracanda, joining us today and talking
Absolutely.
to us. Pretty cool.
Yeah. And so yeah, check out the new album "Losing Faith" is on Spotify now, and so are their first two, Two Sides of a Coin and Thorns. And yes, if you ever end up listening to Thorns, there is a song called Montezuma's Revenge. So just so,
Yeah, just so you know.
so just so you know, it's a real song, and but yeah, German. I mean, you can't go wrong with German thrash. You just
No,
can't.
no, good stuff, man. Let me pull this off real quick because ticker still yeah. Here is our current playlist for the weekly playlist there. So if you guys want to check out new music from a band that we may interview later on, who knows? I actually had a comment on one of the posts. I know Chris seen it.
Yep, I did.
And, I don't know if they've reached out, but once they do, maybe we'll set something up. So.
Yeah, I haven't seen them reach out yet, but they did say they were interested, so we'll see how it goes.
I was actually trying to find info. I'd like them on the show. Not like they have no info anywhere to contact them. I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. But
well, there you go. It might work out.
Yeah, so maybe it'll work out. But yeah, another good band that we would be happy to talk to. So
yep.
You know what? I don't even know if.
And an American band too. So
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
So yeah, so we'll see. We got so that's probably the first step in securing another live guest here before the end of the year. So
yeah, I mean, I kind of figured we'll get a few more in before we have to take off for year-end review stuff. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're definitely going to try.
So, cool deal. So,
yep.
I guess that being said, look for our album reviews as per normal when we do guests on our page there. So we'll try to get some of those together.
Yep.
By the first of the week, hopefully.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Do our best.
Yeah. And then. Trying to think. Oh yeah! Don't forget to stream our 24/7 radio station at stream.trulyradio247.com/8008/stream. I don't have the ticker. I don't know what happened. It's for some reason it makes me do that for each show. I don't know why it makes me do that for each show. It's kind of crazy. Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
But
well, maybe I did it wrong. I don't know. I'll look into it some more. Like I said, this is the second week with it, so
that's true. But. MetalheadsUniteUSA@gmail.com is our email address. Follow us on all of the social media platforms, on Spotify, on YouTube, on Facebook, our Facebook group and Facebook page, Instagram, TikTok, X, Rumble, and Twitter.
No.
Wait,
hey,
Twitch, not Twitter. Not Twitter.
Yeah.
Twitch, not
Twitter.
Twitter is X now.
Yeah. But, X Twitter.
X Twitter, yeah.
But he got them all this time, so he didn't.
I did get them all.
He didn't need my help this time. So
yeah.
So if you want to keep up with the current events, also check our socials out for that too. If you see the ticker across the bottom there, a lot of that was the news stories that we shared this week on the page. So if you want to know more about those, then you can check those out. And once we go back into a full live show without a guest, and we'll go over a lot of the lineups for the festivals that have been announced. So some pretty big ones too, man. That Sonic Temple Festival. That Sonic Temple Festival looks badass, dude. I don't. I just can't do 4-day festivals anymore. But man, that would almost tip me. I ain't even gonna lie, dude. Like that's
Yeah.
man. There's some bands on that thing I have never seen. So I'm just like, dude, there's a lot of bands I haven't seen on this one, dude.
Yeah.
So
And the Louder Than Life 2025 pre-sale, I think, is starting next week at some point.
yeah,
I got an email the other day uh, about them, the status of my credit for next year, because that's the option that I chose to get reimbursed. I just decided to just use a credit for next year because they've already announced that Slayer is coming back. So
right,
it's like,
right,
I
right.
will. I am bound and determined. I am bound and determined to see Slayer. So I decided to take them up on their offer just to basically store credit for next year. So that's basically what I'm going to do. So that's coming up next I think next week, something like that. But yeah, so that's coming around. But yeah, these festival lineups for next year they're already slowly starting to take shape, and some of them are really really starting to uh, look promising.
Yeah. Oh, and also the 2025 Rockin' Pod is going to be announcing their lineup
Oh
as
yeah,
far as the guests we can get on whenever we go there. So that's what's that? April, March or April?
I believe. Shit.
I think it's April this time for some reason.
I think it is. I think it is April.
Yeah. So man, I'm looking forward to that. I can't wait to see who they grab for all that. So
I'm wanting to say. It is April. Rock and roll, rock and pod Nashville, April 25. Well, that's not what I was looking for.
uh,
Oh, there it is. I think. Yeah, April 11th through the 13th. Yep, next
okay,
year.
yeah, that's what I thought.
Yes.
I thought it was in. Hopefully that doesn't interfere with much of anything else going on, but we'll see. April's a kind of a big thing around this area, so
Yeah. So we'll see. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to going to that again this year.
trying
So
to see. Um,
So yeah, so they're going to be letting us know all of the guests for that. So we'll get some sort of idea who we could potentially be talking about.
exactly, yeah,
Of
pretty
course,
soon. So I think
course,
that's in the next week or two too. They were talking about doing that. So
I think it is. So it's coming up quickly. So
uh,
and hell, of course, we know it'll be April before we know it. Just in general, anyway. I mean, time flies anymore. So
well, I mean they usually have. I think they had the whole list out end of January, early February for us to say, hey, we want who we want to interview,
right,
and
yeah,
then of course the depending on the time frame of the guests, they pick and choose. They say, well, we can't do every one of them because we're not there that
hmm
long. We're not there long enough
right.
to do all of them, so they kind of have to pick and choose what podcasts they're willing to go on. So
Sure, yeah, because
it's,
yeah, there's only so many hours in the day, and there's
yeah,
there's there's more podcasters there than time slots available, so they kind of have to.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
so, but I mean, in 2023, no, yeah, in 2023, man, we really had some. There were people that we got to interview that I would have never even kind of thought would
yeah,
have sat down with us, because I mean, it was our first year it was our first year there, and I mean hell, we're still a young show,
yeah.
and it was a little intimidating seeing like the amount of other shows that were there, and like to see the setups that they had. And I was like, you had a laptop, I had my desktop, and we just had like one table. And so I mean, some of these other, I mean, they had like banners and canopies and like all all this rigging and shit, and we're just like, I'm just here with my thing, and with my one microphone and the thing, and it's so
uh,
it's like, do we even belong here? But I mean, everyone was like really really nice though. So
yeah,
you know,
yeah. Yep. So hopefully we'll get some more info on that and share that along as well. So
yeah.
All right, gang. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed that interview, and we will, as far as I know, we'll be back with our regularly scheduled program next week, unless
Mm-hmm.
unless something changes. We'll
Yep.
definitely, like I said, we have we have contacts and emails out, so never know when somebody will pop in and be like, "Hey, can you do this week or next week or something like that?" So can't ever tell. So
And we're usually like, yes, we can. Yes, we
yeah,
can.
exactly. Yes, we'll make it.
Yeah,
We'll make it work somehow. So.
that's right.
Um,
Yep.
so, all right, guys. Hopefully, you guys have a good time.
Eduardo, take care, buddy.
Yeah. Thanks for the questions today, Eduardo. Those were actually really good questions.
Very
So,
good questions, Eduardo.
yeah,
Thank you. We
yeah.
appreciate you very much.
Okay. Like I said, hopefully you enjoyed the interview, and if hopefully we will see you back here next week at our regular scheduled programming for now. So if you follow us on our socials, just kind of keep track of that because, like I said, if some band says, "Hey, we want to do it next week," and then they're over there, so we'll probably have to move stuff around as well. But we'll see. Which we try to keep it as as close to our normal time as possible most of the time. So.
Yeah, because we do know that not everybody who wants to watch the show is available on Saturday mornings, and we understand that. So
Yeah. Or I mean, some of them ain't available on Friday nights. Maybe they watching today and they couldn't watch it on Fridays. So I mean,
that's
that's
true. So yeah,
always a thing too. So I mean, like I said, that's why it's recorded and put on all these other places so you can watch or listen at your convenience.
that's right.
So
And you can watch at your convenience, so you don't have any excuse not to.
that's right. Yeah. So that's what I told Dana last night. He's like, hey, we're waiting. I said, on what? He's like, the show. And I was like, dude, you follow us on socials. You know we're not having a show till Saturday. But but I like giving him a hard time. But
Oh yeah,
he said, well, he said, I planned my whole Friday nights around watching this podcast. Well, you can watch some old shows, man. I mean, they're all on.
right.
There's two
I'll
with
just-
you on. There's two with you on it. So I mean, like,
Yeah. Hell, we should have just told him to go back and watch watch his birthday show from last week. He could have just watched that.
well, yeah, that too. Yeah, so yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was actually an amazing show too, by the way.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was really good. I was actually
It was
surprised that and then so pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then your daughter actually wound up liking No Connection, so
Yeah.
that's a good thing. Got them another fan in the base there. So
Yes.
that's
I mean,
always cool.
every new fan is a positive, even
That's
if
right.
if it's just one at a time and you're building
Yep.
a fan base slowly. So every new fan is a plus.
Oh, and before I forget,
Stapled shot inside and outside world. And
that's right. That's right. Actually, I shared something in the group. I wanted to make sure I mentioned on the show. So, and I might mention it again next week too. But I wanted to send a congratulatory message out. There it is. To our friends, John O'Connor and his band, One of the Last. They actually are a member of the Curtain Call Records family now.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yep.
So congrats on those guys. This is the second band that we've talked to that actually, have scored a record deal since we've talked to them. So that's good. Like,
Yeah.
not saying that we had anything to do with it, not whatsoever. I'm just saying this is how.
We did. We did.
Yeah, we totally had everything to do with it. And John, I tell you that. So I'm just.
He probably would.
I mean, if he would, he'd probably be lying. But they definitely get these. They definitely get record. They definitely get record deals because of their talent. It ain't nothing to do with us. But,
No, it's not. But
it is cool to see these bands that we've kind of One of the Last was the first guest we ever had on the show, I think. So I
They
mean,
were.
to see them go this far in the 3 years that we've known them, and like I talked to John a lot too, so it's not like it's a one-off thing. So to see those guys,
flourishing.
yeah, man. I mean, Ashes Rain the same way. They got picked up by a label a while back too, and it's like seeing these guys that we've talked to for a couple of years now getting labels and moving forward, and man, it's so fucking awesome, dude. Like
It is great to see.
yeah. So, and
I love it.
So, anyway, guys, check out all those bands.
Yeah, all of them. Check them all out.
Yeah, check them all out. Yeah, yeah.
All
If we ever talk, and it's like we got something special coming for you guys too about guests. I'll share that with you guys before we take our hiatus in December. But yeah, so she's got something special cooking for the guests that have been on this show. So just stay tuned for that big announcement.
Oh yeah.
It's not too crazy, but I wanted to do something to show a little bit of appreciation. So.
Absolutely.
So anyway, hopefully you guys have a good weekend, and hopefully we'll see you back here next Friday, 10 p.m. Central Standard Time, as of right now. But
Yeah.
things do
Card
change.
is subject to change.
Yeah, that was my name on every flyer, man. That was my.
That's right.
I used to show up at wrestling shows and be in a locker room. And they're like, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I'm on the card. It says card subject to change right there."
That's right.
Like sometimes they'd be like, "Well, do you have your gear?" I'm like, "Yeah." So there you go. Rest is history. So I wound up, wrestling anyway.
That's right.
But that's one of the rules of wrestling. You never show up to a show without gear. So because you never know.
Why would you do that? Yeah.
So anyway, I have some news on that coming up too. I done got hit up twice about doing shows. So,
Okay.
so we'll see what the old body's got left in it. I guess
Nice.
after seeing Mike Tyson last night, I might have a few more left in me. So anyway, guys, I don't want to keep you anymore this morning. So have a good one. Hopefully we'll see you back here next week. Till then, keep those horns held high. Jump in that pit anytime you can.
Have a great week, you guys. Thank you.